Jamaican, even relatively speaking.
Because your character. All right,
I
and
look, I look Jamaican right now.
yeah, shtickle. All right, we're on. Are we on? Yes, we are.
Remember, what was it in Half Baked? Remember Samson? He's like, tell Mr. Feelgood. Remember, like, what was the name of the guy that they created that was Dr. Feelgood, or who was the name of the guy?
I honestly don't remember half that movie, not because I was whatever.
So basically, they started selling weed, right, and giving competition to the main drug dealer, who's played this guy named Samson Simpson, right?
Yeah.
And he's like this black dude who sounds like he should be like in English theater, and he has like a whole gang full of like Charlie's Angels, like but evil ones, to enforce his whatever. So as his enforcers.
Mhm.
And then like Dave Chappelle and his friends, they start selling weed. And I
Yeah.
forgot, Mr. Nice Guy. That's what they called him.
Yeah.
So they called, so they became like Mr. Nice Guy. And then Samson gets wind of this, and he calls up Mr. Dave Chappelle and his friends. And Dave Chappelle picks up, and he goes, hello, this is Samson, Smarty Pants. Remember that?
Yeah.
He's like, are you Mr. Nice Guy? He goes, yeah, me, Mr. Nice Guy. All of a sudden, he pretends to be Jamaican.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, yeah, you're from Jamaica. Me too. Where are you from? By the beach, boy. He's like,
the hell? What a like a.
And then he's like, tell Mr. Nice Guy to bring his Jamaican ass over here and see me.
That movie is a combination of being like a cult classic, but also being just a total waste of time.
No, I love it. I mean, yeah,
it's like
time, but it's a hilarious waste of time.
It is a hilarious waste of time. Speaking of hilarious waste of time, I was watching Mousy today, Dr. Mousy, and he's like, yeah, so it's like, I'm telling you, it's like the dead parrots in Monty Python. He's like, well, we would just it was money allocated to partial this and partial that, and we did with the Chinese he literally said like this, with the Chinese the Chinese government and whatever scientists, he said, and that was misconstrued by him. By him, he means Rand Paul, as having funded some kind of research. And then he does this like dance, like you ever play Madden 94 on Genesis?
Yeah.
When the guy scores a touchdown, he goes like this.
Yeah, sure.
That's what he did. It was like a lighter version of that. I kind of Mandelaed it a little bit, but it was basically a lighter, and I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, have you ever seen a guy's body language scream without actually screaming?
No, I haven't. By the way, it didn't.
That's him.
We're not doing the thing where like when I talk, it switches.
What do you mean?
Remember we were talking about how like I've seen it where when I talk, it's just me, and then when you talk, it's just
no.
you.
So that's what I'm doing.
I don't see that.
It's in the Facebook feed. It's switching back and forth. It's just not here for some reason.
All right, let me double check this.
The audience can see what it is that you want to convey.
Might be messing with me.
It's just the only thing is it's kind of bouncing back and forth. It's kind of a little bit annoying, but
yeah. All right, I guess it's not working.
You want to do? Let's just do regular. Let's just do the gallery.
Yeah.
Like that. We're not gonna give people epileptic seizures. Has to show them. We have 9 people watching, bro. This is like good stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now
I'm nervous.
It's Monday night, my friend. It's prime time live.
Folks, I have to apologize ahead of time. You are not catching me at my freshest, either mentally or mentally.
Yeah, all these wonderful quote unquote froom leftists on Twitter who are literally attacking your brother like rabid hyenas, and they're saying that he's literally harming people. Meanwhile, I'm talking to you, who's basically his glorified secretary, and you're telling me that you're exhausted. Why are you exhausted? Because you're taking calls all day from patients.
Earlier you were telling me how
Flips.
like you were saying like these people are from because they actually think what'd you say, that my brother is hurting people? But
No, they are. I said they're from because they keep Shabbat and kosher, and they know.
No.
Classified as.
I'm saying no. As a side point, you were saying that there are people out there who actually think that my brother is hurting all these people and this and that. I don't know how that is actually a realistic thing. That after almost 2 years, right, the better part of 2 years, with nonstop, across the board, consistent results in life-saving 8,000 people, just him alone.
Yeah. And probably by extension even more, because people actually, all over the world use
by extension,
whether it's doctors or whatever.
Without exaggeration, by extension, it's tens of millions already.
Yeah, probably
tens of millions. Probably more, because there's like tens of millions in just countries. For instance, there are entire countries that adopted his protocol because they had no other choice.
For sure.
And they are schmovid free.
Yeah.
Okay. Central American countries that are schmovid free because they adopted his protocol.
The ones that are sending across the border, you mean? The ones that Kamala won't go to see.
Yes, those as well. Okay. And then there's no, how about India?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How about, there's tens of millions is a conservative figure. Let's put it that way.
You know what's crazy?
So my point is, I apologize. But my point is that I don't believe there's any possible way that anybody can actually think that my brother's hurting people when it's very clear, very, very, very clear that he saved the lives of all of his patients and then everybody else who had adopted his protocol. I mean, so basically at this point, I'm forced to make the unfortunately necessary conclusion that these people know exactly that he is saving these lives and they are working to make sure that people die. I'm forced to come to that. I mean, what else could it be? I would love.
It could just be that they're ignorant of this. What you're saying, it could be that they believe the media. It could be that it's been so politicized that they believe that anything to do with that Trump, if Trump likes it, they hate it. It could be all those things. The crazy part is regarding India. You mentioned, like, even your brother mentioned this, and this is actually a fact because I know this for a fact, that Bibi brought in like 2 million of those pills of HCQ into Israel. And they were put in like a warehouse or something like that. It's like people wonder how was all this stuff acquired by people? How are all these things acquired by people in the black market after everything was rolled out? Like IVM, HCQ. How did I get IVM? How do you think? I went to my friend in Nachlot. I got it from him.
Yeah.
Where did he get it from? Somewhere, whatever. A guy who knows a guy, because it all came from India. Like, and it's all out there, and people are getting it, and it's working, and it's helping. It's just like,
it could be, it could be that we can almost pinpoint the exact moment that Bibi's Bachira Chafshit was taken away.
Yeah.
Right. It could have been that was the moment when he brought over all those pills of HC Shmoo, Shmoo to Israel, right? And then that was it. That was when they attacked, and then his free will left him, and his soul left his body, and also the rest of them too.
Yeah.
Invasion of the body snatchers.
Here's my question: do you think now that he's in the opposition and now that he relinquished that kind of Behira free position, which has now been taken over by the other demon, Bennett Navat, do you think that Bibi is now, so to speak, acting with Behira, has come to, so to speak, his senses?
I really wouldn't count on it.
Okay. Why do you think that's?
Because if a person gets his neshama back and then he sees what he did, he wouldn't show his face in public ever again.
Or Has v'Shalom, he would do self-hurting.
Yeah, I don't know how a person could go on. Yeah.
Well, it's Bibi, man. He's done a lot of stuff and has continued to sleep at night.
I thought that what I thought about him was that he was he was unfortunately a politician, but I thought that among the Erev Rav, he he was the potential crossover. You know what I mean? Like I did not see him as evil, not intentionally evil.
Listen, the Rebbe thought that he was going to be, Rebbe told him he had a lot of hope in him. This is when he was a young politician, and when he went to the UN, he's like, "You're going to stand up in a house full of lies." First, he told him about the UN. He's like, just light a candle and light and this and that and the other. And then and with the Knesset, he's like, "Oh, just don't be afraid. You're standing up against 119 other dudes or women." There's a lot of hope that the Rebbe put in him.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I learned something today, which changed because what you're talking about right now. To me, like the Rebbe is when it comes to human beings, at least, right? He's the most hooked into what's going on in heaven. Okay.
Yeah.
But so because he apparently, I mean, I never saw it personally, but I hear a lot of people saying that the Rebbe put a lot of hope into Bibi. I also heard rumors that he says that Bibi would be the last prime minister before Mashiach comes. I never had that confirmed, by the way. I don't know. You probably heard that too, but I never.
No, I heard that. No, I heard that also.
I can't find where he said that or when, or I can't.
It's in one of those. Well, no, actually, he was.
We have to find out. We got to be careful with stuff like that. So
but even if he did, I mean, you see, it's not
as of yet unconfirmed.
Yeah.
But you know what I noticed? I learned this just today. So it worried me. I was like, does that mean the Rebbe didn't have like a good sense? Was he wrong? It seems unlikely.
Yeah.
But it is possible. It's possible that he was wrong. Which is difficult to admit, but he is a human being.
Yeah.
Okay. The greatest human being on earth, in my opinion, and many others, but nevertheless, a human being.
Can I tell you something?
Wait, there's a point. There's a point. I'm long-winded.
It wasn't wrong. I think it's just that these people needed to take that. No, it's okay. Sorry.
Dude, you're breaking up big time. I don't know what's going on. You're getting jammed.
Really? Yeah, they're messing. They're messing, man.
So I was reading today with my dad, reading Sefer Shmuel, and so Eli was the Kohen Gadol at that time, Eli, right? And his sons were known as wicked. They were wicked. You recall that?
Yeah.
So it says that when he found out, when Eli was old and he found out, he heard reports about his son's wicked behavior. And so he spoke to them, and he's like, my sons, what is this that I'm hearing? You have to change. Please don't do this. And he was giving them advice, and then it ends with, it says that, but they didn't listen to him because God had already decided that they should die. Which means that even the Kohen Gadol, Eli, the mighty Kohen Gadol from that period, okay, that's like the Rebbe of his time.
Yeah.
Okay, God didn't tell him that the fate of his sons was already sealed. I think because now this is just my speculation. I don't think God had the heart to tell him. He was very old already, and he was not going to be in the world much longer. And so God didn't see a need. This is my opinion. Didn't see a need to break his heart by telling him that his sons, that they were already sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they died before he died. Hopefully not, but I think that if you're talking about the tzaddik of the generation, he's like the father to everybody. He's like, the Rebbe was like that. He was like the father. He every Jew was like a precious child to him that he had hope and faith in.
Yeah.
So I think that God would not want to break his heart. And whatever. That's just what I'm saying. That's kind of what it seems like to me.
Yeah. Listen, I think at the end of the day, every person has their free will, so to speak. Like Rebbe Kessin spoke about Gideon Sar, and he told Gideon Sar to his face, man, it's already been decided that you're the prime minister. All you got to do is step into it, as we say in Russian, "Stupić partию." And he didn't. He allowed his disdain for Bibi to overrule his decision making. Bibi offered him to be the prime minister for a year and a half, and he could have taken it, and he didn't take it. So, and then even Rabbi Kessin told me, he's like, that was his choice, and he went. Very disappointing, and that's it.
It's crazy.
Yep. So what about these guys, man? You're these Froome. I'm telling you, there is, in my opinion, there's nothing worse.
First of all, there's very, very few from leftists, okay? But the ones that are there are loud and obnoxious.
There's really nasty and a lot, and some of them
they're very nasty, very nasty.
Yeah.
But there's like one of them,
It's not one. There's a few, and they've infested now Jerusalem.
There's like 7 of them. Okay, it's like a handful of people.
No, there's 7. There's 7, let's say, prominent ones, and then there's a bunch of these like scattered followers.
Like another 15 of them who are just kind of like whatever. It's that little. You're not going to find a lot of leftists in the Froome world.
Dude, go to YU, you'll find a good amount. Go to YU. Go to YU.
Yeah, but YU, like, you have to understand, it's not just. First of all, YU isn't just Jews. That's number one. Number two,
but it's mostly Jews.
It's not just religious Jews. There's YU is unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But in terms of religious Jews who go to shul, who keep Shabbos, who wear tzitzis, who keep Taharat HaMishpacha, you're not going to find a whole bunch of them. Like 99% of them are.
You know where you'll find them, ironically? You know where you find them? You'll find them in Crown Heights, and you'll find them in Nachlaot. That's where you'll find them.
Even in Crown Heights, very, very few.
There's more than you think. I'm telling you that, whatever. I won't go into.
By the way, Crown Heights is.
Let's just say I never thought. Yeah.
If you do find them at Crown Heights is ground zero for ground is target. Crown Heights is public enemy number 1. It's the primary target of the Sitra Achra.
I know. So
they will send agents in there from in all shapes and sizes.
It's not agents. You know who it is? Can I tell you who it is? Unfortunately, it is the people, the children of the people who became Baal Teshuva by the Rebbe. Their children, who knew the Rebbe as, so to speak, their grandfather. Like you said, if he's all the kids, it's so that he was like their grandfather. And then the grandfather, like you say, went away from public view, and these kids became lost, and they got into all kinds of, eventually woke and this and that and the other. I never thought I would hear somebody stand up between Shachris and Musaf on Shabbos and try to reconcile what it says in Hasidus with woke ideology. I never thought I'd hear that. That is, I mean.
Listen, there's, I know the Bukhrim, I know the young guys, because my nephews, I have a nephew, 18 years old, who's in, is in Crown Heights, is in yeshiva. I know his friends. You are not describing them. You're not.
I'm not describing them. I'm describing a totally different.
You're not describing the yeshiva, the yeshiva guys. You're not describing you're describing like these kind of visitors in Crown Heights.
They're not.
Now, my wife. My wife.
Some of them are from Crown Heights, by the way. They're not visitors. Some of them are from there.
But hold on.
Some of them grew up there. I'm telling you.
Listen. My wife is from Crown Heights. Her brothers and sisters. She comes from a big, prominent family. I know her brothers and sisters. Some of them are,
Can you give me just 1 second? I'm just getting a phone call. Just 1 second. I apologize. Just 1 second. I apologize. Hello?
Yep.
Back. All right. That was just the Miami. Anyway.
Just the city, just in general, the city Miami
The
called.
city called me. Yeah, they said, why are you not here?
I put in a good word for you.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so yeah, so I think that you're not being fair because I'm familiar through your family, through people that I know, through yeshiva guys, that the vast majority of people are right-wing politically and
I know.
socially. Okay. And it's not, it's really unfair. It's almost Farrakhanish to say, oh, there's a lot of them in Crown Heights. There isn't.
It's not a lot of them. There's just this pocket where there's a good
There's always 10 loud, obnoxious mother, fargan ice holes. Okay. And everybody else is, all the normal people are quiet. It's the same pattern in the whole like religious right-wing world. The religious right wing, even in America, I'm talking about even Christians, right? Quiet and polite, and they don't get involved, right? They don't lower themselves, they don't fight back against the loud, obnoxious, tiny minority. So then you have but if you don't, then the loud, obnoxious make it seem like they represent the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lesson for not just for Jews but for Christians out there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So
for Muslims too, by the way. For Muslims too.
No, I know.
You know what? And in a different way, because most Muslims, are of the non-murdering terrorist variety. Okay.
Yeah, my problem is just that why are those not
they tolerate
the ones
they tolerate the murdering terrorist variety.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, it's more extreme on that level there, but it's same in principle.
Yeah. Sure.
In fact, by studying this and showing, like the fact that Muslims didn't do anything about it and they let this thing go rampant. Well, I mean, I think recently in some countries they're trying to stamp it out. You know what I mean?
Sort of.
Like Saudi Arabia, like Dubai, like they don't want that crap coming and messing with their.
Also, they don't want. Yeah, and they want the American money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, whatever the reason is, they need ticha spokojna. They need peace and quiet to make sure. It's like in Jamaica. You know what they do to thieves and people who try to mob like tourists?
Yeah,
they kill them.
Yeah.
They kill them.
Yeah.
They bury them. They don't even send them to jail. They just kill them.
Yeah.
That's what local Jamaicans told me when I was in Antigua.
Yeah.
They just shoot muggers and thieves who target tourists.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just saying that like.
Where you find them?
What'd you say?
No. I turned on the Facebook and it just made a noise. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they went on full frontal attack against your brother today.
So what's interesting? Like it was really this person Shmima Smart. I don't want to say her name.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Whatever. I don't want to give her any attention. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Shlima Schmarkowitz.
Yeah.
Right,
sounds like a weird shadchan.
Yeah.
That tries to set me up with a pterodactyl. But anyway.
It sounds like somebody that Andy Dick would play in like the Hebrew Hammer type movie or something like that.
Oh
Hi, this is Shlima Schmarkowitz. Anyway, so remember he played that evil elf in the Hebrew Hammer?
God. Yeah.
That was hilarious. That guy's hilarious, man.
Is that guy gay? Is he gay or what?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Yeah, he's gay.
Is he bi?
He likes women too. He has kids.
So he's bi.
Whatever, man.
Sort of. Nobody knows.
He is fruity. That's all.
I mean, I don't care if he is. I'm just.
I don't care. I could not give a damn. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's very funny. And I'm trying to figure out how he even became so like revered. He's not even like popular among.
I wouldn't say he's revered.
The populace. He's revered among comedians. I
didn't like him at all. I thought he was a complete like freak. The only time I started liking him is when I saw Norm Macdonald interview him.
Yeah.
and it was hilarious. I was like, holy
Yeah.
crap, this guy's hilarious. I didn't
No,
know
because
that.
he's actually a very intelligent person because he pulled off being a schmuck. That's an art.
Like he played what was it, Daphne Aguilera? Remember he played that character? That was his famous thing. He
What,
played
from
Daphne.
what
He
movie?
played Daphne Aguilera was he played Christina Aguilera's mother's sister's husband's neighbor. Right?
What?
No relation to her whatsoever. So he called
In
himself
what
Daphne.
movie? In what movie?
Oh no, this is a comic. This is a comedy routine that he did, like stand up.
Oh,
He did it in the. He had a show on HBO. Andy Dick.
well, dude, he was on like that. He was on a show with Joe Rogan and on a
News radio.
sitcom.
News radio, of course.
News radio, yeah.
So
Dude, that show had like a ton of like soon to be stars. It's incredible.
yeah.
What's his name? Hartman, Phil Hartman, right? I think he
Phil
was.
Hartman. I heard something recently about Phil Hartman. Like somebody in the comments somewhere like, said that Phil Hartman, like they did something to him, to his wife. They gave her some. Oh, it was related to the pharma thing, right? Like she was doing some kind of Pfizer drug, right? And she went psychotic and shot him, like because of the drug. So basically, Schmeiser killed Phil Hartman.
It was an I think it was that drug. What is it? They just talked about it. See, you mentioned it, and now they're zapping us.
I was stunned.
It was called. I think it was Vioxx, I believe, if not mistaken. Here,
That was crazy. Phil Hartman was gangster. Phil Hartman was. I don't know what his politics were. I don't know. I don't care. I don't want to know. But he was a gangster comedian and actor. That he had like the funniest scream. The funniest comedic scream. That's which is important in comedy. You know what I mean? Like, you ever see that movie Blind Date? With Bruce Willis and Kim Basinger.
No, I did not.
So basically, this is one classic '80s movie. Okay, this is like one of the first romantic comedies, but it was actually good. And John Larroquette was in it. The great, legendary John Larroquette.
Yeah, who played the
crazy boyfriend.
Night Court.
Right?
Yeah.
No, he was right. He played in Night Court, but he played the crazy, jealous ex-boyfriend of the guy that of Kim Basinger.
I gotta see this movie.
It's hilarious. And so basically, Kim Basinger, she's a sweet, beautiful woman. She's a Southern belle, right? But the only problem is that if she has some kind of weird alcohol allergy. So if she gets alcohol, then she basically goes crazy. She gets like psychotic or something like that. Not normal drunk. Something wrong. Like it's different. Okay, out of control. So then somehow she's on this date with Bruce Willis. It's going nice. Everything's very sweet. And then somehow she gets some alcohol in her. She goes nuts, and he's chasing her around town. Anyway, he gets like, and then you have this John Larroquette character. He's chasing them around, creeping, getting into fights, and then all of a sudden, whatever, he ends up in jail.
You know who's in this movie?
Yeah, Mr. Feeney.
William Daniels, who played Mr. Feeney, and he's still alive. Okay, I'm like,
I literally just said it.
I can't. Damn it.
I said Mr. Feeney, bro. I said it first.
Dude, he's 94 years old. Oh my god. I hope he's. Oh my god.
Dude,
We did it again.
We made a deal that we're not going to mention any elderly people that we love. Okay.
Oh Lord, help him, please, Lord, help him. Don't do this to him. Oh, this is whatever. Anyway,
we're responsible for Betty White and possibly
and Harry Reid.
For Harry Reid, even though he wasn't my favorite person in the world, still, Anyway, so basically,
terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No. So what happened was, he ends up going to jail because she made him crazy, and he started going crazy, and then he ended up in jail. Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Crazy, drunk, hammered. Just it was a nightmare. And Phil Hartman is his brother in the movie.
That's funny.
Okay, and then there's this one scene where Phil Hartman picks him up from jail. Right? And then I don't know what happened, but he drops him off, and then as he's pulling away, he says something to him, which pisses off Bruce Willis, and he's like, "Hey, stop!" And he keeps driving, so he throws a bottle and smashes the back of his car window, right? And then Phil Hartman comes out, and there's this like moment of silence where he's looking at Bruce Willis. He's looking at his thing and he goes, "You smashed my window." He says it. That's the funniest. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I can never forget it. I'll never forget it.
Can I read to you about his here? NBC executive Don Ohlmeyer stated that Hartman was here. No, I apologize. This is crud. What happened to this? Yeah. On May 27th, 1998, Bryn. Who was Bryn? Bryn, I guess that was his second wife. Yeah, his third wife. Bryn Olmdahl. Bryn visited Italian restaurant Buca di Beppo in Encino, California, with producer and writer Christine Zander, who said Hartman was in a good frame of mind. The women both had drinks. After returning home, Bryn had a heated argument with Phil, after which he went to bed. She entered his bedroom sometime before 3 a.m. Pacific, and May 28, 1998, and Philly shot him once between the eyes, once in the throat, and once in the upper chest.
Holy shit.
With a Charter Arms 38 cal as he slept. He was 49 years old. She was taking Zoloft, had been drinking alcohol, and had recently used cocaine. Bryn drove to the home of her friend who confessed to the killing. Initially, he did not believe her. The pair drove back to the house in separate cars, and she called another friend and confessed the second time. Upon seeing Hartman's body, Douglas called 911. Police arrived, escorted Douglas and Hartman's 2 children for the premises, by which Bryn had locked herself in the bedroom. Shortly after, she committed suicide by self-inflicted gunshot wound. The police stated Hartman's death was caused by domestic discord between the couple. A friend said that Bryn had trouble controlling her anger. She got attention by losing her temper. A neighbor of the Hartmans told CNN reporter that the couple had marital problems, yet actor Steve Guttenberg said they had been a very happy couple and they always had the appearance of being well balanced. A wrongful death lawsuit was filed in 1999 by her brother, Gregory Olmdahl, against Schmeiser, the manufacturer of Zoloft, and against her child psychiatrist, Arthur Sorosky, of course, whatever, fire counting it, who had provided samples of the antidepressant to Bryn. Phil Hartman's friend and former SNL colleague, John Lovitz, has accused Hartman's then news radio co-star Andy Dick of reintroducing Bryn to cocaine, speaking of Andy Dick, causing her to relapse and suffer, a nervous breakdown. Andy Dick claims to have known nothing of her condition. Lovitz later said that he no longer blamed Dick for Hartman's murder, but in 2006, Lovitz claimed that Dick had approached him at a restaurant and said, "I put the Phil Hartman hex on you, you're the next one to die." Lovitz then had him ejected from the restaurant. The following year at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club in Los Angeles, Lovitz and Dick had another argument, with Lovitz slamming Dick's head into the bar. Dick asserted that he was not at fault in relation to Hartman's death. Bryn's sister, Catherine Omdahl, and brother-in-law, Mike Wright, raised 2 Hartman children. Hartman stipulated each child would inherit money over several years, blah, blah, blah. Unbelievable. Speaking of Andy Dick.
Sounds like some crazy belligerent.
Money over several years, blah, blah, blah. What? Unbelievable. Speaking of Andy Dick.
Sounds like some crazy belligerent.
Money over several years, blah, blah, blah. There's like an echo happening.
Yeah, there is.
Speaking of Andy Dick.
How's that?
That's better. What the heck? Oh, that was from you?
I might have had Facebook playing in the
Yeah,
background.
I think that was you, yeah, because I had to close all my stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, I would imagine somebody accused me, God forbid, of something like Lovitz accused Dick. I would imagine at some point in some drunken state, I would also, lash out and say some out of control stuff like that. I mean, that's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
So
you know what I heard, that Lisa Kudrow, who's hilarious, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know she's actually a genius? Like, she's Mensa.
Yeah, she's like a member of Mensa, yeah.
Right.
That's the whole irony of playing like a person like that.
Right. Right. Phoebe. So I named my cat Phoebe in her honor.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
and then when you sing "Smelly Cat, Smelly Cat," what are they feeding you?
I don't sing that because Phoebe is not.
She sing that about herself?
She's not. She looks like Audrey Hepburn. She's the most beautiful. I'll show you a picture someday. You'll love it. Anyway, so basically, Phoebe's just a cute name.
Yeah.
So.
No,
but basically, Lisa Kudrow, she grew up with Lovitz. Like, Lovitz was her older brother's friend. or something like that. Or no, they're cousins, I think, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how do we just ignore these guys? These guys who have essentially infested.
No, I think what my brother did was right. Like let's see how I'm going to show you.
But he's answering them. But the only people reading your brother's answers are not in those threads on Twitter. It's like people who are like in our echo chamber, so to speak.
No, but he's right. But that's who he is answering. He's not answering them. He's saying that he realizes basically. This is my opinion. I didn't speak to him. By the way, I don't speak to my brother every day. I actually don't speak to him even every week. Okay, very little does he, ever consult with me about anything that he does or says. Okay, and vice versa. Okay, but I can give you my opinion as to what he's doing. So he said something, What's the headline here? Hold on. Man, he posts so much, it's hard to keep up. Hold on a second. I'm trying to find that post. One second. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Nope. You find it?
Which? Oh, it's on the Telegram here.
Oh, I know. I'm looking. Wait.
Give me 1 second. I have to dial it up. He posted the latest thing is him. It's somebody that whatever. The lady that he called Dr. something, medical genius and scientist, gives her opinion about the Zelenko protocol, but she's not even a doctor. And she wrote like, what happened to Zelenko? What he's done is now doing against Torah and is putting even more lives in danger. Oh, because your brother said that.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay,
no longer human, another species or whatever.
Right. So my brother, he will say something that that's very, very like outrageous, right?
Inflammatory, yeah.
No, but it's not just for that. It also happens to be true. Okay. So, but he'll say it.
What does he mean by another species? There are another species.
I'm going to explain to you.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to explain to you right now. That's why I'm even saying this. Okay.
Yeah.
So he wrote, why did I say this? And then we have a Shlima, Schmarkus. Shlimi Schmarkus. Okay. Is she's quoting him saying that that anybody who took the vaccine is no longer human.
Yeah.
They are another species. So why did he say that? To bring your attention to the following. Okay, let's see. Klaus Schwab.
And now she took out, dude, by the way, she tweeted our thing out of context.
You're kind of screwing me up here, buddy.
She tweeted our thing out of context. She took out 47 seconds.
Of course, dude, she's not a frum person. She is you don't understand. This is not this is a freak, a beast freak.
Hold on.
She's not just a misunderstood frummie. She's an operative. You don't understand. Dude, what do you think happened during Haskalah? You think you think they came wearing looking like like what's his name, like Woody Allen? No, they came with kippahs and payas. Why you of all people should be, you're surprised? There are deep, dark scum who are pretending to be religious Jews. Dude, there are missionaries, Christian missionaries, who dress up like frum people, okay, and then try to infiltrate the community. Yeah. This is happening from like every direction. So we can't be surprised that Shlimi Sparkus, okay, it's retard. Yeah. Okay, so basically, my brother said like this. Why did I say this? Meaning, referring to the statement that people who took the vaccine are now a different species. Why? Why did he say that? Can we don't interrupt me? This is important because people are So basically, Klaus Schwab, right? He said, "Can you play the clip so people can hear this?"
Hold on.
This is actually being good.
Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
It's Schmaus. It's 2015.
I cannot let this slide with these freaking people. I can't.
No, please, no, dude, because you got to strike while the iron is hot. Like I'm trying to make a point.
Say again what you were trying to do. Okay. Please.
Because attention spans. So basically, my brother said people who took the vaccine are now a different species. Now we're going to explain why he made that argument.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second, but you got to also let me
Yeah.
draw a conclusion after we look at these things. Okay. So can you look up on Rumble,
Yeah.
2015,
Mhm.
Klaus Schwab, but spell it the right way.
Yeah.
On behavior modification.
This is gene editing. Yes.
editing.
Yes. I'll play that.
Can you please play that for the folks at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is delicate, so. Yeah.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity. And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. You know, when you begin to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be you. That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications, and we have to be prepared for it. And that's what we want to do in Davos next year.
Crazy.
Okay,
He's
so what
saying it, like,
he's literally
listen.
saying that gene editing is occurring. It's going to be done to everyone. It's going to have legal implications as to what that means. Literally saying, you know, there's going to be different legal status changes. Okay, he said itself, it's going to change you. Okay, he said it. Okay, now let's play. Would you mind if we play the next clip, which is the Shmil Schmates?
Yeah.
The YouTube, if you click on the YouTube link.
They just called your brother's followers Sabbateans.
That is the MO, by the way, of the Sabbateans.
Yeah.
They accuse. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like that's.
Yeah. Zelenkists. Somebody says Zelenkists.
Look, that is literally the MO of the left. They take language, right? They do everything that they are guilty of.
Yeah.
They immediately begin accusing. That's how you know who they are.
Yeah.
The first ones who start yelling Lashon Hara are the ones who are themselves doing that thing that they're yelling about. Why do you think that Eli is the Kohen Gadol? Why did it take his entire like decades before anybody in Klal Yisrael came up to him and said, listen, your sons are really, you know, it's been a very, very long time that they've been acting, you know, we were waiting for them to do tshuva, and we didn't want to tell you this horrible thing to make you upset, but, you know, they behaved in such and such a manner. Why did Yaakov have to dress up like Esav? How come people couldn't just come up to Yitzhak and say, you know, Esav, he's, you know, it's been, that's how scared they were of Lashon Hara.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so the people who are just quick to make those kind of, you know, he's a Sabbatean. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's their MO. That's, you know exactly who they are now. They have declared their identity to the world by their own accusations. It's been the same pattern throughout history.
Dude,
Okay.
can I tell you something? I really
Like, can we play the Gates? I just want people to know.
Yeah. What is it? Gates? What, on Rumble? Where do I go?
No, it's on YouTube. It's let me see. 1 second. I'll tell you exactly.
So this, I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's just so.
Okay. So how CRISPR could save lives and end diseases.
Yeah, there you go. This is on his. No, I'll play it.
Okay.
Walter Isaacson's new book, The Codebreaker, tells an amazing story. It's about how Jennifer Doudna and other scientists discovered a new way to edit DNA. Editing DNA with precision has been a holy grail for scientists for decades. The DNA, of course, encodes all of the biological functions. And so some of the mistakes in DNA cause disease, genetic disease. If we could go in and
fix those mistakes, we could save many, many lives and get rid of these diseases. CRISPR is a very fascinating tool. You figure out a part of the DNA sequence that you want to change. Then you take the DNA that's nearby and create a guide in RNA. So that helps you locate the position. And then you link this Cas enzyme, which has the ability to do that cut and edit. And so pulling together this guiding RNA and this Cas enzyme, editing becomes possible. Our foundation is funding work to see if we can use CRISPR to knock down mosquito populations dramatically. We're also looking at CRISPR to make better seeds. We're also looking at ways that CRISPR might help us with very accurate diagnostics. And we're considering how the CRISPR gene editing might lead to a way of curing HIV and things like sickle cell. Using CRISPR to help cure disease is not very controversial, but using CRISPR, you could actually change the DNA that would determine your baby's eye color or skin. Most scientists agree that this is something that we should not do. Walter's book does a great job talking about how it's a slippery slope and raising the question of where should we draw the line and the relative role of the scientific community and governments in helping make sure that we don't cross it. There's no question, CRISPR is going to save a lot of lives. It's going to raise issues. And so I hope you enjoy the book.
So, okay. So basically, there's another link. Okay. Hang on. 1 second.
Unreal.
Yeah. Didn't open. So so we have a person like Shmuel Schmates who
By the way,
who's constantly spoken about reducing the human population, who says that we have to schmaccinate 7 billion people. This is years before Shmovid.
Yeah.
Vaccinate them against what? We have to vaccinate 7 billion people. This is before Shmovid, years. Vaccinate them against what? What was he talking about? He was talking, and in another, we've spoken about this a lot of times. He was saying that we have to get the world carbon neutral. The only way to make carbon neutral is to make P in the equation, that's people, 0. And you have the same guy who, as far as I know, didn't even graduate college. All of a sudden, he's an expert in virology and in gene editing. Okay, so he is saying how we can do all these things with CRISPR gene. I think there's a pattern developing here. Okay, so based on these statements, okay, and many, many, many others in public, in the World Economic Shmorum, okay, and or maybe I should say the Shworld Economic Forum. I think people could put it together. And during these TED Talks, and during these Google Talks, and all of these kind of like elitist venues, okay, where everybody's like snapping their fingers,
Yeah.
So, so they've been saying this for like 20 straight years. Okay, nobody's listening. Okay, they have big plans. Transhumans, they're touting, this whole kind of like alpha, beta, gamma structure. Aldous Huxley, he wrote about it. That it looks like a dystopian, horror show, but to them, it's the plan of the future. Okay, so that's what what my brother was saying, that what really he was trying to scare people out of their wits. He wants people to be aware of what these people are trying to do. Okay, he wants people to stop taking the schmacks. Stop it, because it is changing you. It is making a physical change in your body. Okay, en masse. They are trying to physically change on a genetic level the human race. Okay, they are pumping stuff into your body that can do that. That's part of the reason why they're doing this. So that's what he's saying. He wants people to understand, because being nice and being edel, nobody gives a shit. Nobody effing listens to you. Nothing. No, taking the high road just means you are letting everybody die. Taking the high road and being quiet and edel and trying to be nice to people, like a nice from boy, means you are condemning everybody you care about to death. He's trying to do the opposite. Okay? He's screaming, trying, he's doing whatever tactics he thinks would work. Idiots.
I guess these American from kids don't understand that, they don't respond to that. So to speak.
Can you put up your volume a little bit? You sound a little weak.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
I said these American kids don't respond to that.
Don't respond to what? To being
They
nice?
don't respond to this what's called Russian negative reinforcement.
It's not Russian negative reinforcement. It's like it's a desperate attempt to just wake up. Like, wake up.
Yeah.
You understand?
No.
He's not a media mogul. He's not a professional marketing person. He's a doctor trying to scare people into realizing what's going on. Do you understand? That's all. He's like, look what's happening. Could please somebody pay attention? They're trying to change you. You sleeping fools.
Yeah.
Listen,
man, every once in a while I just feel like, remember, I think I mentioned this before. Remember Bruce Willis in what is it, 12 Monkeys? When he comes back, and he's just trying to tell people that he's from the future and this and that and the other. But the thing is, we're not from the future. We may not even see the future. We just see what's going on.
We don't have to be from the future.
I know we don't.
Dude, science fiction, like scenarios are always far more complicated and much more difficult, than real life. You understand? Like in the science fiction, the villains are always way more sophisticated and more secretive, and their plans work out perfectly.
For sure.
Okay, like it's like Ocean's 11. Like the bad guys are like they're perfect. They always execute their plan perfectly. Okay, that's not reality. In reality, these guys are telling you, like Bond villains. They're telling you what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Just our job is just to get. Can you somebody please listen to what he said? This guy, listen to Schmates. Listen to him. Listen to Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Listen to what that animal has been saying for the years. You don't have to believe me. Just watch the video.
Oops. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
that's the thing. Nobody, can I tell you something? Even if you show somebody all this stuff, they're just going to be like, well, this is fantastic. They're going to be like, how is it that from that you get to whatever it is you're saying? So it's a tech.
We have to try. Right? Abraham, he tried to save him. Moshe Rabbeinu tried to save him, but succeeded, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have to try. Okay. How many times did Moshe Rabbeinu daven? 500 something daven until God said enough already. Quiet, right? Yeah. We have to get to that point.
It's crazy, man. It's really feels like.
But you know what? I just want to reiterate.
You're going to be in the choshech.
I just want to reiterate how simple this is. They're always trying to overcomplicate the situation. Here's the situation very clearly. Some evil, shady mother effers created a situation and released a man-made bioweapon on the entire world, proven already in the mainstream media. Okay. Then the same animals are now trying to tell you to put put an experimental unknown substance that's never been seen before into your body. It's not clear at all to anybody what the long-term effect of it is. So far, we're seeing young people dropping dead, elite athletes dropping dead by the hundreds in public.
Yeah, but
Okay?
it's not attributed to that. It's, the stuff also, disease.
No, I know. No,
Yeah.
that's the argument. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to just expose how simple the actual truth is. Okay, they're telling you to put some unknown crap into your body, and where it's clearly not necessary, and we knew it's not necessary since March of 2020. Known, everybody, 2 years now, no excuses. Known, okay, and you're still putting crap into your body because you're a lemming listening to an evil schmuck that you put your trust into, including your mother, your friggin' fake rabbi. Okay, so and your fake Blima Marcus, okay, who's apparently some kind of whatever. Okay,
She's a nurse, supposedly.
a nurse, yeah, a nurse of death.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's a criminal. Okay, enough with this. She's a criminal. She's a rotzeach, a murderer. Okay, this is not lashon hara. She is responsible for the death, clearly the death of people, clearly misleading them to die. Okay, so
Oncology nurse practitioner.
Yeah, practitioner. Anyway, so the point is that it's a simple story. There, some shady mother effers are telling you to put some shady, unknown crap into your body when it's unnecessary. End of story. Anybody who's trying to complicate it further than that, you know what their agenda is. That's
This is a person who works in hospitals. Listen to this video. This is what kills me. Works in hospitals, whatever, hospice care, whatever you call it, oncology, probably has seen the horrible protocols where she works and still has the audacity to watch that video 26 minutes long and cut out 47 seconds. It's just.
Wait, so hold on. She was commenting on whose video? Our video?
She cut out 47 seconds of our video where you called your brother Avram Avinu.
Of course she did.
Yeah, 47 seconds.
Look, these people are.
You know what I wrote back to her? No, I wrote on Twitter.
They're not Jewish.
I wrote lashon hara. This is 47 seconds out of 26-minute discussion on the matter of medical establishment and horrible protocols in hospitals all over the country. You're a political operative at this point. Here's the full discussion. And then I posted the video. It's not even for her. I want other people to watch the whole video in context.
Of course, it's not for her. We're trying to.
And you have all these people cringe. And the one guy wrote something about Bilam's ass. And then there's another guy wrote motion that he and his followers be declared Sabbateans. Jeez. Yeah, this guy, YU News, Leon Charney, doctor or fellow. Well, it's just, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than these people. There's nothing worse. There's nothing on this planet Earth. There's no Pablo Escobar. There's no Gaddafi. There's no Saddam Hussein. There's no Ahmadinejad. There's no.
I want to tell you something.
What's his face? The supreme leader without these freaking people.
Can I tell you something? Right now?
Flip.
Just give some thoughts that
Сволочи, блядь.
Yeah, but listen, you're right. But listen. If I was let's say, I always try to think, like, what would I do, right? What would the enemy do, right? If I was them, right? Just try to be objective about it. So the Erev Rav, what are they? They are the Jewish Amalek, basically. They are the agents of the Satan. I've heard Rabbi Kessin say this himself.
No,
okay?
they're no. Well, one of them. What is it? Erev Rav is part of. Amalek is part of Erev Rav. It's one of them.
I understand. So what do? What their priority is to distance Jewish people from the service of God. Okay, to interfere with it, to distance it, to prevent it from happening. Okay, eat bagels as long as you want. Have chicken soup. Wear a shaitel, but just don't have a relationship with God. Okay, so if I was the Erev Rav, where would I put? Who would I dedicate? Where would I allocate most of my resources and my best agents? I would put them in the Frum community to try to forget about Knesset, forget about Temple Beth Emmanuel, with pregnant Rabbi Veronica. No, you would take your best operatives and put them among the from a yid. Okay, talk about the saboteurs. Okay, that's exactly what they did, and that's exactly what they're doing. It never stops. The Haskalah movement is just a branch of the saboteurs, the Frankists. Okay. And by the way, wise guys, it's not me. We're talking about Jacob Frank, who lived in the 1800s. Okay, so I can't wait for some low-level douchebag, to just grab. That's what they do. They're very good on grabbing on the most low-hanging fruit. They have no standards, no morals, no lie that's too low to tell. They will do anything. My God, man, it's like
whatever.
These people, yeah, I really pity them. I pity their victims more.
I pity the fool.
I pity their victims more, though.
Their victim, yeah.
Them. Okay, I pity the poor souls who have the unfortunate fate of being in proximity to them, listening to their nonsense and taking it seriously, and dying because of it. That's who I pity. I don't pity them, actually.
I said on a recent video, man, like that. I really hope that I think this is kind of an optimistic thought that I really hope the world identifies the problem with the mechanics of the stuff that the people are putting in their bodies, and then we start on a massive global detox program from it.
I saw my brother say something today, which I hadn't seen. Somebody asked about somebody who's having some issues in terms of they took the schmaxine and they're having serious heart pain. And they asked my brother what to do. He said he should go speak, get imaging, go see a cardiologist, get all that kind of stuff done. Mm-hmm. And also, in the meantime, take the following. Hold on. 1 second. Okay.
What is it, NAC or something like that?
Yeah. It's the first time I actually saw him.
I keep hearing that, but like kind of.
So here it is. Here it is. Listen.
Yeah.
NAC 600 twice a day.
600 what, mg?
I would assume.
Okay.
I haven't spoken to him about this yet. Like, I need to confirm all this with him. But
can you do that? Because I really want to get this down.
I know. I'm just saying. No, but just let's get it out there anyway.
Yeah.
This is all over the counter anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So vitamin D 5,000 international units, zinc 50 mg per day. That usually means 455% daily value. Okay. Mm-hmm. Vitamin C 1,000 milligrams per day, and EGCG 400 milligrams per day. I don't know why he chose EGCG. Quercetin.
EGCG.
EGCG. What did you ask?
What is it? What is EGCG?
I think they extract it from green tea, but you're not going to drink enough green tea in order to get this.
EGC and then a small G. It's like a supplement, green tea extract. Yeah.
It's a zinc ionophore. It's one of the. If you don't have HC Shmu, and if you don't have Schmeiver or Schmeckton, and if you don't have quercetin, then EGCG is your basically that's you can use that.
Epigallocitechin galate.
EGCG.
Yeah, Denise is writing. It's an antioxidant.
It's an antioxidant, but it's also a zinc ionophore.
Yeah.
More importantly, at this point. Hold on.
Yeah. Interesting. I've heard NAC bounced around a lot with regards to this Schmetox.
I know. I get asked about it like literally, like daily, for like more than a year, and I never know what to say.
And acetyl L-cysteine. So what exactly is this?
Wait, what did you say? I don't know. That wasn't part of what I said.
It's funny. I said no. I just wrote. I read out what it stands for. FDA requests information relevant to the USMNAC as a dietary supplement. November 24th, 2021. Interesting.
Yeah.
1 second, have received 2 citizen petitions asking the agency to reconsider its position on the use of NAC as a dietary supplement. June 2021, Council for Responsible Nutrition asked FDA to reverse the agency's position that NAC containing products cannot be dietary supplements. Natural Product Association asked FDA to either determine that NAC is not excluded from definition, or in the alternative, meaning is dietary supplements, are they covered by insurance or no?
I have no idea. I have no idea about
But why would somebody? What would it matter if someone was getting NAC? They can anyway on what's it called, over the counter. What's the difference?
that. Don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't they need the FDA to tell them what they do? You know, like here, 9 benefits of NAC. Making the powerful antioxidant glutathione. Most important antioxidant, help neutralize free radicals that can damage cells and tissues in your body. Essential for immune health and fighting cellular damage. There we go. That's what that guy Sucharit Bhakti said.
Yep, I watched that video today.
That's just, and at the end, you see him at the end. He's just like, I don't even want. He goes, I don't even want to imagine. He's like, I know I just spoke about a few things, the mechanics of the whatever, this and that, but I don't even want to imagine the patients. I myself, he's like, I myself don't want to imagine. I'd rather not imagine. Dude, it's like watching.
Listen to this.
It feels like you're in a movie. You're watching something, or you're watching a movie, and you want to yell out at the person in the movie, and you can't.
You want to hear a movie? Check this out.
No.
Despite shutdowns, lockdowns, masks, vaccines, new Schmovid cases top 1 million for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And then highest death rates in history. Indiana life insurance CEO.
Yeah.
Deaths are up.
No, but they'll say it's the Schmetz to the disease.
Hold on. He says that highest death rates in history. Indiana life insurance CEO says deaths are up by a whopping 40% among people aged 18 to 64.
You realize what this means, that they're like premiums go up.
Only a fraction from COVID.
Yeah, that's nice.
Manhattan DA closes investigation of Andrew Cuomo in nursing home deaths. No charges brought. Big surprise.
And what was? Dude, we need the knickknacks need to come.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think you're starting to.
No, because after this with these schmucks, with these frumies, so to speak,
Dude, not just the knickknacks, but the paddywhacks.
And give these dogs
all
the
the
bone.
dogs and all their bones, man.
Valley of Dry Bones.
Oh, God.
So let you know. No, then you must want.
Healthy 57-year-old Nashville doctor died shortly after receiving Schmaxine. Media blames death on Schmovid.
Can we change the subject to the Shinto guys with the round tefillin on their head?
I need a couple of segues to jump from that to that.
I don't even know. I have no segue. I just don't want to talk about these people anymore. You know, I feel like it's 2 o'clock in the morning in a Russian restaurant and I had too much vodka and shashlik.
Dude, if we start talking about
and my
Japanese,
stomach.
if we start talking about Japanese, I'm gonna start thinking seppuku. Okay.
What's seppuku?
Harakiri.
Oh, that's for sure.
You know what I mean?
Harakiri. I would commit. When I listen to these stupid people talk about, makes me want to commit to harakiri.
Oh.
They talk about the Sabbatean and Bilam's ass. They are Bilam's ass.
They inside Bilam's ass.
They came out of it.
They were born of his arse.
Okay, Hajime. Dude, I just saw stuff about there was a guy who was hired by SNL in 2018 to be in their cast, and then somebody like sent them a video of him on a podcast doing a Chinese accent. And apparently that is racist. And he was hired, it was like grand opening, grand closing. He was hired and fired 4 days later.
Dude, I'm telling you, I can't wait to where they actually start coming up to real live Chinese people and saying, that's racist. They're like, what is a racist?
Yeah, it's like,
I'm a racist?
No, it's like when what's his name? Dave Chappelle goes, what if I walked around in in this, and what if I was really Chinese, but I was born in this NIGGA body, and then walked around and going, hey everybody, I'm Chinese. What? It's how I fear inside. You know what I said? I said that for Halloween, Chinese people should go walk around wearing a Dave Chappelle mask and going, hey everybody, I'm Chinese. And then take off the mask and go, it's an actual Chinese person or Asian. Dude, I posted that. People on YouTube comments, but they were like, oh my God, this is a winner.
Crazy.
It's like shtick. It's shtick. It's not even like,
Dude, they know it's shtick.
What happened? What happened?
Dude, here's what it is. Look, here's what it is.
Were these people's brains removed?
No.
These are 40-year-old people who cannot take a freaking joke.
Dude, let's boil it down. It's back to that conversation with the emperor. Listen. The guys who are orchestrating this, they know it's shtick, and they're like, and they know that you know it's shtick, and they are telling stupid people who are easy to, when I say stupid, I mean I include in
15 years old.
Anybody who is just like so easily manipulated because they're ignorant or they inexperienced.
They've been conditioned by their teacher in school already to expect it.
They've been brainwashed, or they're just stupid. I mean, that also exists.
Yeah.
Okay, that happens. So the guy who's manipulating them, or I should say, the lady sometimes who's manipulating the people who don't know any better. While they're manipulating them, they're looking at you going, I know that you know. I know that you know.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this a lot. I like to see you get crazy and suffer. I like to see you get all frustrated. That's part of what I'm doing, why I'm doing this. That's why I'm telling you, Greg, just look once. Here's what they don't want to see.
You know what my problem is? I have shame. That's my problem. I'm susceptible to being shamed.
No, but here's what they don't want to see.
That's my flaw, not flaw, but that's what Hashem put inside of me.
But hang on.
Because I'm not an NPC like them.
All right, but here's what they don't want to see. Don't you want to show them something they don't want to see?
Which is what?
I'm talking about the emperor. What does the emperor not want to see? He wants to see you. He doesn't want to see you being all calm and collected, right? He doesn't want to see you just kind of, being purely methodical, right?
Yeah.
That will scare him.
Yeah. No, most of the time I do, when I'm talking and addressing these people, I do that, but and the more you're calm and collected, the more they go at it. And then at some point I just break and I just go,
I know, but if you don't break, guess what? They'll break. That's what you probably don't realize, that when they go at it, they just let them
their version of breaking is blocking me, which I don't really care. They block me on what's it called, Twitter or whatever it is.
And then you've won.
I know.
Because they will fear you. Do you understand? Yeah. I read this this great book when I was like 14. I was blown away by it. It's called The Pen and the Sword, I believe.
Yeah.
No, The Way of the Sword, the Pen. I don't remember. But it was a book about
the sword.
It was a book about white dude going to Japan to learn sword fighting and kenjutsu.
It's not the Last Samurai, is it?
No. This is modern. So his sensei was telling him all these interesting stories. One of them was there's a guy in ancient Japan. He was challenged to prove his techniques by fighting this famous bull that everyone feared. Right? So they had like a rodeo kind of thing in Japan, believe it or not, right? So so what he did was he put on a bright like orange shirt. Okay, it was a very unusual shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then he found out where the bull was being hidden in the pen that he was being hidden. Okay, and he snuck in there, and he had like a rod with him. Now this is a horrible story, obviously, but there's a point underneath it, and he started hitting the bull on the head really hard, right? And the bull couldn't do anything because it was stuck in the pen. Okay, so he didn't kill the bull. The point of it was to terrorize the bull and cause it a lot of pain, and for the bull to see where the pain was coming from. Okay, so then when the day came when he was supposed to face the bull, he wore that shirt. And as soon as the bull came out of the pen, it saw the guy that caused him all that pain, and it was so terrified that it went back into the pen and couldn't even face him. So he defeated the bull without actually having to fight it. So how does that relate to this? If you let these NPC losers scream their heads off, and you keep yourself calm and collected, that's what you're doing. You're essentially hitting them on the head, because you're showing them they can't get what they're looking for out of you. They're not getting that emotional high that they get by condescending in a self-righteous way to someone that they feel is beneath them morally. Okay, and so they will fear you and they will block you. Problem solved.
Yeah.
And they won't go anywhere near you, by the way. If they see you in a, like on a
Oh
comic,
no, dude! Of course. Listen,
that's what you want.
I dealt with such people for 10 years when I was in the club scene, and when they saw me in person, I'm like a freaking teddy bear. You know what I'm saying? Like you're my friend, whatever. You were chilling. I don't go around like physically threatening people. And for some reason, they got it into their heads, these people that I'm like a violent person, which I'm not. Probably was one fight in my entire life. Maybe two tops, 1.5, you'll say. And they're so like fake nice in person, Some of them are just afraid to even talk.
That's one of the amazing things that must be about growing up in a nice neighborhood in Jersey. Like I couldn't have only 2 fights in my life if I tried really hard.
No.
If I never left my house. I had 3 fights in my hallway in my building.
Dude, can I clarify for you? I just so you know, I lived from Brooklyn in Brooklyn from 87 to 92, but then I used to also come to Brooklyn every single weekend until I got my license, and even then after that I used to come there almost every weekend until the year 2000. So you logic would dictate that I probably would get into a lot of fights, but I just didn't.
I played hockey. I played hockey in Kelly Park, roller hockey.
I also played roller hockey.
I got into a fight once a month just with with my friends in the hockey. Yeah. That was my friends. I wasn't even like guys, that I had beef with.
I used to play hockey in Luna Park in buildings with the Scotch 88, Scotch tape, that kind of deal. So it was funny because in Jersey we also played, but we played with the ball. But in Brooklyn, I used to come to Brooklyn, and these guys were playing with the Scotch 88 thing, which is like a puck, but it doesn't, the thing rolls over and whatever it is. And it was...
Dude, you know what I just realized talking about this? I literally saw every single man in my family fight at one point or another.
I've never seen my father fight.
Even my grandfather.
Really?
My grandfather,
actually be in an actual fight?
My grandfather, we were walking in the hallway. It was me, my dad, and my grandfather. And we were walking, there's a hallway where you go to as you're on the way to the elevator, you have the mailboxes on the left, inside the building, okay? There's some guy who's like maybe a little bit older than my dad, right? At this time.
Mhm.
And my grandfather was not a tall man, but he was in 3 wars. Okay. Out of nowhere, I'm 8 years old, by the way. Out of nowhere,
Mhm.
he grabs a guy, throws him really, really hard. This is a big dude. Throws him really, really hard against the mailboxes. I remember that sound, because they were like those metallic kind of aluminum
Yeah.
like doors, and it's like, "Pah!" And it was like the
Yeah.
echo of that sound was like, it shocked me. And my dad, right, also shocked. And I'm like, Papa, and he's like, "Shh, tija, tija," like that. He was scared too.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and my grandfather laid this guy out with a right cross
Wow.
straight to the chin. Anyway, later on, I found out that guy, he had disrespected my grandmother on several occasions.
Mhm.
Because at that time, I don't know if you recall, but you had the old Russian people. They would sit in front of the buildings, like in the.
Yeah. They still do that.
They still do that, right?
Haiki, so they're called haiki. Like
No, just not.
they-
No, it was just the Russian couples. The older
oh, the
people.
couples. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's nice, when it's a warm day and it's
Yeah.
not too hot,
Yeah.
like in September,
Yeah.
they would bring their chairs out and sit in front of the building and socialize. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah. They still do that. They still do it.
So that's good. I haven't seen that in a while. So basically, so the guy was, much younger than my grandfather, and I think, I don't know. My grandfather, he went into the army when the USSR was annexing Latvia,
Interesting.
and then straight from there, he went to the Finnish War. I don't know. That lasted like a year or two. I'm not sure.
Finnish war, like Russia versus Finland?
Russia versus Finland. That was one of the bloodiest. Russia did not win that war.
Yeah, I know. Because it was like in the snow, and Finland had complete.
Yeah, it was in the forest, and it was just sniper massacre.
1939 until March 12th, 1940. Russo-Finnish War. So this is like what, overlapping with World War II?
Right before.
Right before Russia, because Russia got sucked in later after that.
In 1940.
Got it. Okay.
We went straight from that to the front of World War II. 3 straight serious military. Well, maybe, relatively speaking, the annexation of Latvia, not as serious.
Yeah.
That was a military conflict.
There was like a famous sniper in that war, I think on the Finnish side. Here, his name was Simo Hecha. He got half his face blown off.
Yeah.
But he was like, he's probably like it's called, they call him the White Death.
He killed on whatever number the Russians tell you.
500 men. It's probably high.
times that by 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to undercut it.
Yeah.
He was a scourge of that war, that one sniper.
Highest number of sniper kills. The memoir titled Sota Mój Stoja, War Memoirs, written by him in 1940. A few months after he was wounded, covers his experience in the Winter War from 39 to 40. It was accidentally discovered in 2017 by those who had studied his war history. It had been hidden for decades. Yeah, he's the guy basically. Yeah, achievements. December 22nd, 1939. 138 sniper kills in 22 days. This is from a Finnish army document counted from the beginning of the war. This is from Finns, not the Russians. 299 sniper kills, January 26, 1940. 61 in 35 days. Part of that. February 17th, 1940. 200 and just on that one. 20 and 22 days. Just on that one. Or up to that day, or just on one day? How could it be possible? March 7th, 1940, one day after he was wounded. He got up to 259, 40 in 18 days. Finnish historian Risto Marjoma questions the large number as confirmation of casualties was difficult due to absence of the bodies. In his article published by National Biography of Finland, Marjoma credited Hecha with the total number more than 200 kills. Complicating matters further is the use of Hecha's achievements as a tool of propaganda. The Finnish press built a hero's myth around Hecha at the early stage of the war. According to Red Army medical data, the Soviet 56th Rifle Division lost. The Russians said it was 678. So the Russians made it higher, actually.
Surprising.
It was the Finns that were self-hating on that. if Heicha had to have killed 25 to 30% of these, around 200, then he'd have to have been responsible for 100% of his battalion's achievements in terms of enemies killed. Russian historian Oleg Kiselyev claimed that Heicha alone could not have killed so many. Counting him with a total of one
They
company,
they had
100 men
many-
worth of sniper kills.
They had many, the Finns were, especially in that part of Finland, the
Yeah.
forest, they were expert hunters. They grew up literally snipering their whole lives. And it wasn't
Animals
just
and
him.
stuff. Yeah.
There were
Yeah, for
hundreds
sure.
of excellent snipers. Can you imagine what they did?
Yeah,
The Russians?
Listen to this wounding. On March 6, 1940, Heicha was severely wounded after an explosive bullet fired by a Red Army soldier hit his lower left jaw. After the battle, he was found unconscious and believed dead, and he was placed in a pile of dead bodies. A fellow soldier looking for him on orders from his commanding officer noticed the light twitching him on the pile and found Heicha alive. He was evacuated by fellow soldiers who said that half his face was missing. The bullet had removed his upper jaw, most of his lower jaw, and most of his left cheek. Rumors of Heicha's death spread around Finland and the Soviet Union. He regained consciousness a week later on March 13th, the day that peace was declared. He read about his own death in a newspaper and sent a letter to the paper to correct the misunderstanding. That's badass, man. He spent 14 months recovering from his wounds and endured 26 surgeries. After his wounding, Heicha wanted to serve in the continuation war, which is World War II, as well. However, he was not allowed to because the injuries to his face were so severe. They made a movie about Vasily Zaitsev. The Russians made a movie about, or not the Russians, it was an American movie. But yet they never made a movie. I never heard this guy. The only time I heard of this guy was when I was perusing YouTube for like something about guns, and like this guy, Simo, the Finnish sniper came up. And I was like, who is this guy? What? And he was known all over Russia, and that's why is there no movie made about it? Probably they made a Finnish movie, I think. I think they should have. But there's no movie about him like in any American anything. It's odd.
Because there were no major offensives in that war. It was just basically, it's just a massacre.
Yeah.
It's just Finnish guys in the trees hiding in territory that they know, just picking off.
For
it was
sure.
it was like America versus the British in that war. The British were like marching in rows, in red suits, looking like
You're talking about 1776.
like looking like roosters. And the Americans who knew the terrain were hiding behind.
I'd say, Nigel, let's get into the formation. And the Americans are like, okay, it's duck, duck, goose time.
Yeah, it was,
Shooting fish in a barrel, buddy. Fish in a barrel. This is before they became North and South. Yeah. So you had some Virginia guys. Fish in a barrel.
Even my little nephew was shooting him, man. He ain't but knee high to a duck, and he killed him like 7 British infantrymen.
Did you see? I'll tell you something. I really liked The Patriot with that anti-Semite Mel Schmipson.
Did you ever hear those phone calls that he had a Russian girlfriend, and
Oh yeah.
she taped the messages that
Men, these guys, they have so much money and they're so stupid. They don't realize that they're just being like.
But he sounds like a tantrum having little girl.
I know he does.
That's what a little girl sounds like when she can't get the doll that she wants. That's what he sounded like on the phone. This guy, I don't know how anybody could take him seriously.
This manly man. What?
She was like mad chill. She was like just letting him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so embarrassing. This is after the whole, Jews, Holocaust thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Even after that, I was like, he made such a fool out of himself.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed for him.
Okay. Can I tell you something? The guy, I hate to say this. The guy is actually a brilliant director. He's actually very, very good as a director.
He's a nut boy.
He is a nut boy, but he made, I saw, as crazy as that movie was, Apocalypto. It was a pretty good movie. He directed. What else did he direct? He directed.
I knew something was wrong with him when I saw Hamlet.
Yeah.
He played the most deranged, unhinged, like way more than necessary. And also, there's some kind of like, what's his name? What's wrong? Like when somebody has like a weird thing with their mother, Oedipus. There's some kind of Oedipal thing going on. He was like kissing Glenn Close, who played his mother. That was his mother. He was like kissing. I was like, what the hell's going on, man? These guys are freaky.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Glenn Close really isn't his mother, but still, it's a very, very.
Do you know what he's making next? What he's directing next?
If you're going to say that he's going to do the Maccabees, I'm going to be very upset.
No, he's directing Passion of the Yoshka, Resurrection, a sequel to the Passion of the. I'm serious. A sequel to the Passion of the Yoshka focuses on the events that occurred 3 days between the Shmusha Fixen and the Tiasa Mesim, when Yoshka descended to Abraham's bosom to preach and resurrect the Old Testament saints. What? Jim Caviezel is Yoshka. Maya Morgenstern is Mary. Francisco DeVito, I don't know who the hell this is, as Peter. Christo Zhivkov as directed by Mel Gibson, written by Mel Gibson and Randall Wallace. What the hell is going on?
Can I just say something? Gosh. It's not my job. It's God's job to get people to know him and to see straight. Let's put it that way.
For sure.
Okay, to have a straight view and to understand what's really going on.
Yeah.
And so I believe that the Trinity, the whole Jesus part.
Yeah, the holy Casper, the holy Casper.
No, listen. The God in three parts, and one that God becomes a human being. All of this is completely contradicted. Okay, in the actual Hebrew scripture. Okay, all of it. Now, here's really. I'm not here to argue, Christians. Okay, I'm here to say that most of you are your human godly beauty outshines your religion. As I say that to Christians.
Yeah.
Actually, some of you are the most beautiful people I've ever known, just in terms of, your soul and your heart. But that comes to you from God, and that shines through you despite some of the things that I think are wrong. Okay.
Our friend Alex, by the way, is writing that movie will never be made.
Okay, good.
So, Alex, why do you think that is? I'm just curious.
But hold on. Listen. This is my message to Christians, and you're like an Alex. So you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls. All right. So here's what I want to say to Christians. Learn Hebrew and read the Hebrew scripture correctly, according to the correct Hebraic grammar. Learn the grammar text. It's dry work. It's hard work. It's unemotional work. But then you can read the word of God as he decided to say it in the language that he decided to say it in. Learn it, read it, and then you will be able to make a correct. Then you can decide. You'll have, because right now you don't have, Christians, you don't have free will.
Yeah.
You don't have free will because you haven't read God's word in the language that he gave it in. End of story.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
In the words of every gym teacher in every 80s movie, gentlemen, learn it, love it, do it. Something like that.
By the way, I'm doing it too. Like I'm in the midst. I'm going through Tanakh right now carefully. I'm learning Hebrew grammar. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody should. The Torah is for everyone.
So speaking of the Torah being for everyone, tell me about the Shinto dudes. Is that a good enough segue?
Yeah, why not? So, well, I don't know that much. I just know that their temples are constructed in a very interesting pattern, very similar to the Bet HaMikdash. You know, it has like layers, you know, like, and then a central holy of holies. Okay, their priests wear tefillin. I mean, they wear something that looks just like tefillin, except that it's round.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
it's like a ball
box instead of a
not a ball. Yeah, it's like a hockey puck. Looks kind of like.
Yeah, but I mean, no, it has kind of like it's concave. No, it's convex actually.
Yeah.
It has a convex shape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there anything in it, or they're just kind of like?
I don't know.
Is there a scroll inside, or?
I don't know, but
it's called tokin, a traditional fictional small box worn on the foreheads of Yamabushi, practitioners of Shagundo or Tengu, dangerous yet protective spirits of the mountains and forests in the Japanese mythology. It is not only worn as a head decoration, but also used as a drinking cup. The token is an evolution of miniaturization of a full-size hat of the same name worn earlier in the Kamakura period, and is coincidentally similar in appearance to tefillin worn by Jews. In the common modern Japanese language, token writes like zukin.
Apparently,
which is another type of Japanese headgear that mainly wraps or folds to cover the head and face. However, token and zukin quite differ.
Apparently,
zukin, if you look at zukin, it looks like something out of like Kohen Gadol situation. What the heck?
Apparently, apparently, there are 10,000 words in Japanese that overlap with Hebrew that sound almost the same, or if not the same, and have the same meaning.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a word list.
It's crazy. Like, it has to be something going on over there, you know?
Comparison of.
Otherwise, what was the point of Yoko Ono ruining the Beatles?
Oh, there's so much to that.
Dude, you know, I have the dubious distinction of being born 2 hours before John Lennon was shot.
Wow.
I was born 4 a.m. in Lvov, Ukraine, which I believe is 8 or 10 p.m. New York. And he was shot, I think, at like 11 o'clock at night. We basically either overlapped by an hour, or he was shot right before I was born. I have to check. Hold on. What time? He was shot. Yeah, he was shot at like around 11 o'clock, maybe a little before that. That was December 8th in New York, 10:50. And I was born 4 a.m. Lvov. So we had like an hour, you know,
Weird.
On December 9th.
There's a book here that I just,
Yeah.
I never even heard of this before. The Biblical Hebrew Origin of the Japanese People by Joseph Edelberg.
Yeah.
The mysterious origins and distant past of the Japanese people are unveiled in this fascinating story that uncovers the journey of the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
Late in his life, Joseph Edelberg began analyzing ancient traditions, religious ceremonies, historical names, haiku poems, kana writings, and Japanese folk songs, discovering thousands of words with similar pronunciation, sounds, and translations between Hebrew and Japanese. These discoveries are in the making, giving credible new information on the meaning of many unknown Japanese words. Meaning there are Japanese words that people don't know what they really mean anymore or their historical value, and yet they have them in their tradition. So you have numbers, songs, and cultural traditions, and this book is the first time that these remarkable similarities are combined into a single consistent theory. The biblical Hebrew origin of the Japanese people casts a new light on the roots of the Japanese people and its mysterious cultural sources. The book was originally published in Japanese, selling over 40,000 copies. And, okay, hold on. I'm ordering it immediately on Kindle. All right, it's available on Kindle. Okay. Click I won with one click. I have bought it with a click. Okay, so now we can read it right away. I can see like, oh, that's why I did it for you, the folks at home. This is all for you. Otherwise, I would have done it later. Okay, okay. A little bit later. Not too much later. Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay, Joseph Edelberg, Israeli soldier, engineer, manager, and scholar. Okay. In search of the lost tribe, the Japanese way of God, the Hebrew writing in Japan, tracing Japanese words of Hebrew origin. There we go. Okay, let's see. Okay. I'm trying to find the. Okay, in addition to these, okay, so other groups, this group will present those Japanese words that have changed the Hebrew sound H into a vowel and the sound KH into K to facilitate comparison between the Hebrew and the Japanese words. In this group, the sound of some Hebrew words have been translated into KH. Okay, so the just a minute. Okay,
Alex says you will find the seal of Solomon there too in these tefillins that they're wearing, or whatever they call them.
Well, there is a in Koryuji, Japan. There's a well. There's an ancient well from thousands of years ago, and on the bottom of the well, there's an inscription in what seems to be some. I can't recall if it's ancient Hebrew or some kind of ancient Japanese script that says "well of" something that sounds like "well of Israel," something like that. That is there. That is actually a fact. I can confirm that. That's not even a rumor.
Yeah.
So, okay. So in Hebrew, we have bar to burn, and in Japanese, bara is a small fire. Okay, you have in Hebrew, haver is a friend. In Japanese, Hawaii is a friend. In Hebrew, Horus is a small forest or a thicket. And in Japanese, Hayase is a forest, and it is a forest or a wood, a small wood.
Yeah.
Okay, oops, I lost it. In Hebrew, Kabir is great, magnificent, and splendid. And in Japanese, Kabir is a splendor and pomp. Okay, Kara in Hebrew, it literally means to tear apart. It's connected in the Hebrew tradition with the great miracle of the tearing apart of the Red Sea to enable the Hebrews to escape. And in Japanese, so in Hebrew it's kara, and in Japanese it's kyoa, a wonder or a miracle. Okay, that one's a little bit of a stretch, but fine. Karka is land or ground. I think that's primarily in Aramaic, which was still a commonly used. It's a Jewish language. Land, ground. Wait, is karka in Hebrew, or is it just Aramaic, or is it both?
It's Hebrew. I'm not. Karka is Hebrew.
Karka, okay, my mistake. So land, ground, or lot, and koku in Japanese is used for designating land in the sense of designating land of country. Okay, so you have karka, land or ground, and then you have koku, a mining field or a mine lot. And then you have another one, karka, land or ground in Hebrew, and then you have kolka, land in the sense of country, state. Okay, then you have in Hebrew you have karya, which is an accident or a mishap, and in Japanese, kuryo, which is misfortune and calamity. Okay, moving on. So there's like 10,000 examples of this. Okay, let's see. Nagar, okay, this is cool. Nagar, to be long, that's Hebrew. And in Japanese, nagai, to be long or lengthy. Rama, a high place, a mountainous area. In Japanese, Yama, a mountain. Okay. Let's see, regel, pilgrimage, one of the 3 compulsory pilgrimages to the ancient Hebrew temple. And in Japanese, yurgra, a pilgrimage. Okay. Resha, a head or a chief or a superior. In Japanese, yushu, superiority. In Hebrew, roshi, main point, most important, the principal point. In Japanese, yoshi, main point, principal point. In Hebrew, seder, order, arrangement, administration. In Japanese, seido, a system, administration, an organization. In Hebrew, Torah, a teaching, a law, a disciple, of study. In Japanese, Torah, training, education. I mean, we could be at this all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that this conclusively proves anything, but if you had like 7 examples, that would be, that's kind of interesting. But if you have 10,000, you know, it's a little, like, you got to look at it. You got to look at it.
By the way, I'm having a back and forth with this clown. Now, she said something along the lines of that she knows all about your brother's work and that he called her a cancer and a whore. And I said, and I'm asking her, what do you know? Please enlighten the audience. And also, how many patients have you personally treated
Also,
with COVID, especially via treatment that works? It's cheaper than anything Pfizer can produce, and which was slandered by the Lancet and Peter Dajak.
by the way, there's a chance.
The guy who runs Eco. 1 second, sir. This is slandered by here. The guy who ran gain of function. There we go. So that's yeah, I wrote to her, please watch the entire, she's like, public health operative. Nice try though. Why do you give deranged people a platforms on you to explain? I said, please watch the post in the entire clip instead of posting a 47-second clip out of context. I'm currently speaking to Ephraim now. He's exhausted from speaking to patients as well as those with vax injuries all day. You literally know nothing of his brother's work. What do you know? Please enlighten the audience. And also, how many patients have you personally treated for COVID, especially by a treatment that works? It's cheaper than anything Pfizer can produce, and was slandered by Peter Dajak, the guy who ran gain of function. Sorry, he didn't run it per se. His org, Eco Health, funneled money from Fauci to it. This is already publicly known information for the mainstream media. No denying it. Hold on. Ajak. Dude, I'm just not gonna let her his org.
I think, dude, I think it's to be continued because, you know, we're you know.
Anyway, man, these people are horrible.
Well, they're not horrible. They're certainly not horrible.
Piece of garbage. She's not going to get away with this. I'm not letting this person off the hook. I'm going to be calm.
Is that her? Is that nurse?
Yeah, this. I like to call her blimey.
Oh, blimey! It's blimey.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Simply awful. Anyway.
She's crazy. By the way, she's
nuts. Yeah.
This has been going on since like since like
Why
May.
did your brother call her this? What was the whole context of
I
this
don't
one?
know. First of all, there's at least there's a fair chance that she's lying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
He may have done that because that's what she is. But whether or not he called her that, I mean, could be. But there's at least a chance that we don't have to believe her instantaneously.
Yeah.
But if he didn't, then he should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would support it. Because she's a murderer.
Yeah.
You're speaking to a murderer right now. I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah, no, I do realize that. Awful.
After 2 years, she's a known murderer, meaning she understands what she's doing. Do you understand that? There's sick people, like really sick people. It's just very disturbing to see that
She
they're like.
she doesn't sound like somebody.
They
She
have a
doesn't sound
position
like
in the
that.
Jewish.
And you see one of these guys, Chofetz Chaim, Hilchot Lashon Hara, for the requirements met here, permitting speeches are featured. If somebody's harming, you can say these things. So they're assuming that your brother's harming someone, so they can say whatever the hell they want.
How about this? Prove one person that he's harmed, and then ask her how many people that you have tried to treat are now alive after your treatment.
So again, I ask,
that.
show me one person that Dr. Zelenko has harmed.
Dude.
Then please, no.
No, I want you to ask her.
No.
How many patients that she has treated, that she's been involved with, are now alive?
Oh.
How many are dead?
And please show me how many patients out of those you've treated are alive and how many are dead.
Sack of shit.
Is that language? Pardon my horrible language. Switch. Aside from medical piece of this, the individual in question appeared beside QAnon promoters. Once again,
Look,
hold on. No, this other guy is funny.
Right away.
Him appearing with these people has nothing to do with the validity of the treatment he has developed, or the literal premise that this treatment works. Again, please watch the entire, not the 26 minutes,
Dude, you're wasting your. She's not gonna watch it.
not the 40. No, I'm running this so other people can read it. Posted by that charlatan. You didn't address the name calling. When did he say this, and what was the context? I have no idea.
Look. If I was writing to her right now, I would say I remember you from early on. It's been more than a year already.
But
You
the
have been
point
leading
is,
people
what
astray to their death.
That have to do with the validity and effectiveness of his treatment.
All right, dude. We can't.
Hold on, dude. Running through the mud, and thereby you are harming people.
I don't know if anybody's listening anymore.
No, they are. There's people. No, there's people listening to this. No, there's 5 people. No, there's
like,
people.
I mean, we can't do this.
All right, brother.
Get back to this. Like, cut that lady out and let's talk about something, productive. Like, she's like literally ruining our Torah talk.
Anyway, sorry, man. I'm gonna turn off Twitter. Screw this.
Shlom that, like, seriously.
These people, you see, they back down and they change the subject because they're little weenies. I know these people. I know I know exactly who they are. I see them at events. I see them at meals. I see them at these little dating things, at these singles things. They're weenies. They're like little hot dogs. They're little Jewish treif hot dogs that somebody tried to pass off with a conservative hechsher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Это кто они такие, блин? Маленькие мужчины пизды, а девочки тоже
Okay.
пизды.
I just wanted
Pardon
to
my
say,
language.
I just wanted to say, aside from like the anger and the frustration, anybody who's listening to this, there is a person called who calls themselves Blimmy Marcus, who claims to be some kind of healthcare professional, who's been literally since March of maybe not March, maybe April or May of 2020. I saw her already talking crap and trying to get people to not use my brother's protocol, which literally has saved every single person so far. Thank God. Thank God. Only because of God. Okay. So she has been, how did she know? You understand, this is a person that has never spoken to us, has never spoken to my brother, never spoken to me, never spoken to any of his patients, and was immediately full on guns blazing that it doesn't work. Like, do you understand? She started out like this from the beginning. Almost 2 years now.
She sounds like
Who is this person?
Pardon my language. She sounds ёбнута на голову, всю голову.
I'm just saying, how many people has she killed?
I don't know. I there's no way to say, but I know your brother hasn't killed even one. That's for sure. Dude, I got phone calls. I got phone calls just last week from like 5 or 6 different people about somebody they know that needs to reach out. They reached out to you, right? Or today, even yesterday.
By the way,
If they couldn't reach you, I just sent them the link for what's it called, for a synergy.
Yeah, man, it's
and I haven't heard from, meaning I haven't heard anything bad from people. I would have heard like, oh, this person, like, usually people, yeah.
There's another practice that I work with too. They're called newsmyrnawellness.com.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of setup of synergy, except that if you're in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, you can actually see them in person. They'll treat you.
Yeah.
SmyrnaWellness.com. They're more recent than synergy.
See, the thing is, these people, they say, like, I think you mentioned this, they say stuff without anybody retorting them, without anybody responding to them. And then when somebody like me comes along and actually gives like a half-what intelligent freaking response with content and sources, they have no idea what to do. They are dumbfounded.
It's literally
because they're dumb and they've been founded.
I've dealt with people. What most of what I was doing for the past couple of years is trying to get people their prescriptions, because there are insane, brain dead, zombie maniac pharmacists who won't dispense the medication that was prescribed to these patients. So when my brother would have a consultation with them, they needed, the care like ASAP. You know what I mean? And when it comes to COVID, you have like a window where you can treat it very, very simply, meaning just the 3 basic things, the zinc ionophore, right? The HCQ or the Schmeiver-Schmectin, okay? Or the quercetin, if there's nothing else available, that can be used too, okay? With the zinc, and then with the broad spectrum antibiotic, okay? Like most often azithromycin, okay? So if a person, there's a certain point where that's all a person needs, okay? But if they're delayed, sometimes by 2 days, it took sometimes multiple days. By the time that I found a pharmacy that would dispense it, now it's more complicated. Now they need steroids too. So these people are murderers or attempted murderers, whether they realize it or not. You don't get in the way of a doctor.
If a doctor prescribes something, you feel that shit.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Fucking kill you.
Dude, there's a very simple graphic somebody put, what's this, a congressman, I think it's Congressman or Senator Ron Johnson, about the side effects from, or just not even deaths, just like all, adverse, that's like over 1 million at this point. This is just in America, right? And then adverse events from like HCQ and IVM.
By the way,
like
I saw that.
infinitesimal.
excuse me, I saw that, by the way.
Yeah.
Some of that info is off.
Some of it's off, but it's all from the CDC itself. You understand? It's all from FDA.
Right, no, he's using CDC, but here's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's like I'd like to talk to him, or at least bring it to my brother's attention, because my brother can talk.
Yeah.
With Johnson, with Senator Johnson. He's a great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
So you can't. You see where it says that some of the deaths from the vaccine occurred just a couple of days after taking it.
Yeah.
That can't be correct.
Yeah.
Meaning that is correct. I mean, that actually happens. But the schmears, the VAERS, and the CDC, they don't count a person as vaccinated until 2 weeks after they've taken it.
Yeah.
So that data, if I'm not mistaken, what it says, that's you have to add 2 weeks to whatever they record there.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So if it says
Yeah. There's always that whole issue. Yeah.
right. And the people who actually died,
Yeah.
the people who actually died within a week or a couple of days or 10 days, let's say, of taking the vaccine, they're not recorded as vaccine.
Yeah, for sure. For sure not. And in Israel, they wouldn't be if had two, they wouldn't be recorded at all as strikes if they only two. Like unlike in America. You know, even two, if enough time went by, they would just be like, "Oh, this person died from, I don't know, hit by a truck." I don't know. Definitely not schmacks. Like if you go to the Israeli records, that anybody with two, not schmacks. It's crazy. Now it's going to be 4. Now they're on 4 for what is it? Workers and 60-year-old and above. 4.
Okay.
I wonder if my friend who took 3 is going to take the 4th. If he takes the 4th, I'm just going to be like, all right, dude, I'm not even going to like, I'm not going to send him, at the rare times that I send him stuff now, I'm not even going to send him anything anymore. I'm just going to be like, you know what, dude, you're on your own. I'm sorry. I tried. Don't say you weren't warned. I can't. There's only so much I can bang my head against the wall.
Federal judge.
You can't fix stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Federal judge grants temporary injunction to group of Navy SEALs seeking religious exemption from Shmovich Schmacks.
Dude, now, yeah, of course, because these guys are like the fittest people on freaking planet, damn freaking Earth. Literally. Have you seen these dudes? There's 100 dudes that start out in the class.
Yeah.
And 5 survive. 95 almost die. They almost die, but then they don't die. They just like realize, oh, I'm about to die, so let me just jump. I can't finish the class. So 5 survive and become, like what's his face, the guy from Minnesota, the wrestler. Whatever.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Dude, I mean, like these people are like Marvel characters. And they're not taking this garbage. And they understand what's going on. You think they're stupid? They're not only Marvel characters, they're not only like grunts. These are most of these people are like Mensa members. Also, speaking of Mensa members.
Yeah. Like,
I need the bayob.
By the way, I know Mensa members who are no longer Mensa members after taking the Schmacks.
No, I thought you meant like
Don't lie, man.
literally. Yeah.
No, because like I already told you one of them, right? Like that was like one of the first encounters that I had. The young lady, 30, early 30s, healthy, athletic, Mensa member, professor of some kind of engineering at a California technical university. Okay, and she was coerced into taking vaccine, and then couldn't talk anymore. She couldn't talk. She did it for her job. She had to resign.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, I lost count as to how many people like that are dealing with this right now. murderers. Okay.
Nobody cares. That's the thing. And people you think would care, that you tell, like just like friends and whomever, you think that these people would care, and they would take an example and be like, whatever.
Can I tell you something? There's some wisdom. You know how like you were saying that on some level you're grateful that you hadn't been married before this, because you never know what kind of, how she would be with the kids, right? Like,
Kind of freaking wackadoodle. Yeah.
right? So in a similar way, I'm kind of somewhat grateful, because I've been stuck. I've kind of lived like the life of a hermit past 2 years, just basically all day, all night on the phone in front of the computer. I really don't get out that much, just because that. And well, it's a little bit better now since he stopped doing consultations, in terms of time. But I think that if I would like go out and then, if I would see some of these people like in person, I don't think I'd be able to. Let's just put it this way: it's better that I am not around people.
Which people? The ones from this Twitter crap?
Right. Like if I were at some event or something like that, I don't know what I would do in order to, because I'm looking at a murderer, a real murderer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there she is. What am I? You know what I mean? Like there he is. Like I'm not gonna take that. I can't. I'm not one of those people. Like I'm stupid. I'll go to jail. Like I can't. I need to not be around people.
It's crazy.
Murderers.
It's now imagine this times 1,000, and that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was dealing with in this week's parsha, last week's parsha, the previous parsha.
Yeah, at least he was Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu.
We're not. None of us are. No.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we're kind of like. It's like kind of like, where the hell is he already?
This is like at least some of the people are listening to us, or some of the people that are reading. That's why I wasn't responding to her. I was writing out things that are factual so other people can read it, because I know other people reading, because I saw a person already liking.
I know. I spent like 7 years.
One of the schmob things that I posted.
I spent all the Obama years on Discus and Facebook doing that. I know.
And I spent all the Bush years on rhythmism with those stupid club kids. Do you remember rhythmism and Naughty Booth? Remember that?
Something, rhythmism sounds familiar. I don't know what that
is.
is.
A message board they used to post all the event. That's where they would post like PS1 and all that stuff. And I remember I used to invite you all the time, and you were always like, Shabbos.
Yeah.
I was always like, I was trying to think like, what if I was trying to tell you, just go to a Chabad and then walk. Go to Chabad nearby in LIC and then walk to the party. What's the big deal? And you're technically allowed to dance. You're not
kind of not in the spirit of Shabbos. It's like leaving Leon.
Yeah.
But worse. It's like,
yeah, it was also
what am I gonna do? Not smoke?
Yeah, there was a lot of like whatever non-sneak. It wasn't even like it was a summer and it was hot, so people were just kind of like in shorts and like tank tops kind of deal. Wasn't anything like, it wasn't like what today is. It's just people, girls dressing up like whores for the sake of it.
Although that's not.
It wasn't like that.
That reminds me of. Remember Tommy Boy? I don't know how well you know that movie, but towards the end of the movie, they have these like, in all the Adam Sandler movies, you have like these weird kind of like moments where somebody says something strange, like some weird old guy. I don't know. So there was a board.
You can do it.
Yeah, something like that.
Bobby Boucher, right.
So basically, I don't know why. Like towards the end of the movie, they were trying to convince the board of Tommy's father's company to not sell it to Zelensky. Remember? Dan Aykroyd's character.
Yeah.
So they were having a meeting, and then he was trying to, he was talking to them in an inspirational speech, and then at some point, some old lady was like, she said for some reason she's like, yeah, but you have those whores, shaking their little tushies for the men folk. And then David Spade's like, I like her idea.
That's hilarious. It's really funny.
What you just said about I was like, yeah, but you're right. They're dressed like whores, but I'm not gonna say I hate it. I know it's not right. I don't hate it.
you know the thing about these people? What I noticed from just a Torah perspective is that they lack the ability to follow what Rambam said about, accept the truth wherever you find it. It's all about sources. It's all about associations. It's all about, what program did your brother go on? Alex Jones and this and that and the other. It's all about this. It's all about, like optics. There's no MS detection software there,
No, it's pure tribalism.
It's just like tribalism and optics and like who are you with, who you running with? Oh, this is like this. You went over there and he went over here and he talked to him. Well, no one else will talk to him. Who's he going to talk to? There's another person with a giant platform, and let's talk to him. Maybe he will freaking listen because everybody else is not listening. Not only they're not listening, they're like drowning out. They're banning. Like, what is a person supposed to do? Who's he going to talk to? It's MS, man. What he's saying is MS. Doesn't negate the MS of what he's saying.
First of all, it's a very simple thing. There's a reason he's not choosing the platforms to go on.
I know he's not. They're calling him and he's going. I mean, whatever.
He'll talk to anybody. He'll let anybody know what's going on. It doesn't matter who calls him. He spoke to a priest. He spoke to like a number of there's like priests that have their own shows. You know what I mean? He'll talk to them, even though like religiously and doctrinally opposed to each other in many ways. But they're still human beings that we have to save them. Okay? He'll talk to anybody that needs to be talked to. Anybody human.
Yeah, for sure. A friend of mine just wrote to me, two things. Let it not move you out of your knowing, out of like what you know to be true. You don't have to battle with the symptoms of a worldly imbalance, which only Hashem can heal. Say what you need to with a sophistication that reflects well on all involved, and walk away. And then I just responded, yeah, this is what I try to do so that onlookers will read it. It's for sure not for the idiot I'm responding to, or whose content I'm responding to.
She's not an idiot. She's not an idiot.
Whatever, the blah.
Saying, I don't want.
Yeah.
Look, apparently if she really is a nurse, that means she's smart enough to, you have to have a certain level of education. Like you're not.
Nurse Ratchet, like from Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah, she's been doing this. Look, when someone comes out swinging straight from the get-go without ever talking to you, without ever knowing anything, right? You know that they're already there with an agenda. She started out like this in April.
What did this whole thing begin with? She just like came
on Facebook, just right away started attacking, right away, hard. Not even like, when something is like a legitimate argument, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that kind of happens between two normal people based on a misunderstanding or some kind of like thing, then you can go back to the beginning and see it kind of started out like small, It's like, oh, well, it starts like, well, I don't know. I think that I'm not sure, perhaps, this is the case, but it might, he might be wrong on this, on that point, kind of like reasonable, right? It starts out reasonable and then things can like blow up and get flared up, right? I've seen that too, but this is not that at all. She started out swinging straight from the get-go.
Yeah.
Who is this? Who is she?
Nobody. She's somebody with a blue check mark, apparently. I don't even know where she got the blue check mark from Twitter. These people, like, they just get like they're like authorities on something.
My brother
somebody died and they made them authorities.
My brother had over 100,000 followers and couldn't get a blue check mark.
Yeah, because it's not about that. It's about, I've seen people with 2,000 followers getting a blue check mark. It's all about, dude. It's high school. It's a popularity contest.
They're operatives.
Yeah, I know they're operatives. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm telling you, man. I can only imagine. We are with peons. I can only imagine what Moshe Rabbeinu went through. It's not even imaginable. And these guys were on the I mean, according to Rabbi Kessin, we're also on the 49th level some way, somehow. Maybe not. I don't know. But according to these guys were on the 49th.
I don't know, man. I don't see that. Like people who are, there's a lot of honestly religious people who serve God, who don't serve idols, and they don't do the crazy crap that the Egyptians did. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I think in some ways we're in a better, we're in a better situation than
could be. It could be. We can always take, what is it, the Manus Friedman approach and things, I
It's
guess.
not the Manish.
I know.
It's not. Because that, that's kind of like saying that that approach it's him, like he created it, which means that you can dismiss it.
Yeah.
It's not the Manus Friedman approach.
Listen to this. This is from Gateway Schmundit.
Okay.
There's quite combat going on in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that may very well decide the future of the United States. If the American first team loses, we're unlikely to see a Republican president ever again. This epic battle is set to blast into public view in the next few days. Let me explain. 2019, before Shmovid hit, Pennsylvania's Republican-controlled legislature passed a law called Act 77, which permits mail-in ballots for any reason whatsoever. This is before Shmovid. Why they did it has been lost, and what happened next. The thing hit. The Democratic operatives allegedly ran through the wide open door to corruption. Act 77 created with boxes and boxes of falsified and harvested ballots. As a result, Democrats from Orange Man, the corruption opportunities enshrined in Act 77 make it certain this will happen again and again long into the future. And as any presidential election expert worth a damn will tell you, there's little chance a Republican can win a national election without PA's electoral votes. Without PA, the math gets hard. So to be abundantly clear, PA Republican state legislators open a door to rampant continuous corruption, which paves the way for permanent Democratic control of the White House. As one original 13 colonies, PA has one of the oldest state constitutions in America. Philadelphia is the birthplace of our country, where the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are both written. It's a state with a long history of protecting election integrity. PA's state constitution was originally drafted in 1776, just weeks after the Declaration of Independence. Franklin helped enact the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The legislature does not have a sole authority to change election laws. They must have public consent. The results of Act 77, mail-in ballots increased from 266,000 in 2016 to over 2.5 billion in 2020. This created a remarkable discrepancy in valid votes, which affected the outcome of the national election. This may be impossible to unravel, but there's a loose thread. Act 77 is very clearly against the Constitution of Pennsylvania. A courageous county commissioner from the countryside of Commonwealth sued to stop it. Miraculously, the David versus Goliath litigation looks to be going his way. Doug McClinko of Bradford County sued the state because his constitution clearly spells out precisely who may cast absentee ballots. It says voters can vote by absentee ballot when they are absent from their residence on the election day because of business, unable to attend in person because of illness or disability, C, unable to attend because of the observance of religious holiday, D, unable to vote because of election day duties. In fact, PA Supreme Court has upheld this clear letter of the Supreme Law in a 1923 attempt to create strikingly similar no excuse mail-in balloting. McClinko is expected to prevail in Commonwealth Court. Arguments have ended, and the judge's decision is expected any day. That's why the forces who corruptly drove President Orange Man out of office are lining up for open warfare. Obama's Solicitor General Seth Waxman argued. See, when I read that name, I'm just like, I go Farrakhan, Arguably, the Democrats' top constitutional attorney raced to Harrisburg at the last minute to assure that the DNC joined the suit and now has a standing to appeal. This is the key because President PA court is stacked in blue. They are expected to overrule the lower court, and it's unlikely the U.S. Supreme Court would even take up the case. But Waxman will be at the bar in Harrisburg and Washington to assure it. But just in case, the national cabal that funded systemic efforts to defeat Orange Man in 2020 has brought in a ringer. On Monday, Democrat Governor Tom Wolf announced Leigh Chapman will be appointed acting Secretary of State on January 8th, 2022. She will be the state's senior officer. See, this is like stuff that's like the media's not even reporting. You see, like they're just doing these things under the noses of everybody.
Of course not. Of course they're not going to report this. Dude, I mean, We know. I mean, that's been going on for like,
Yeah.
since November.
Yeah.
Openly. That's why it's like, where's Mashiach? Where are the Tic Tacs? Where's the Marshmallow Man? Like, every day that passes, like, we're not in a normal. I mean, we haven't been in normal mode for a long, long time now. So the time for surprise is over. I mean, just know that we're just kind of free falling. Nobody knows what is going on, who's really doing what's actually happening behind the scenes. It's like Zayabala, everything's Zayabala. Just sick of it all. It's bad.
Yeah. This clown responded to me, this Josh Fitterman, certainly currently listening to the full thing, nothing changing my opinion here. Zelenko is running around with people trafficking in hatred of Jews. What? Someone with any real integrity will recognize that all platforms are not created equal. This is besides the very dubious nature of his claims per se.
Look, you know what it is? I've
And then he
noticed.
says because he needs to sell Z-Stack, the all-in-one miracle cure. What are they talking about? What are they talking about? Dear God. Your brother responded, thank you, Rabbi. I love to these like horrible, and one of these guys is a rabbi. I love the Muppets. Your wisdom clearly comes across through the profundity of your text. I'm just curious, did you get vaccinated? There are many neurological side effects that may affect your state of mind. Please be careful. God bless you, Rabbi Refuah Shlema. God, it's just horrific. This whole thing is just, it's like when Jews, it's one thing when like just random people, when Jews.
Listen, at the end of the day, we realize Gullus is Gullus. This is what it is. That's what Gullus is. That's what it looks like. That's why we're in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's why we're in it, but this is what it looks like.
This is what it is. Oh God. Oh, this guy. Yeah. See, but this is what I'm saying. These people, I've seen them in the scene, in the New York quote unquote from scene. I've seen them. You understand? There's more of them that's what I'm trying to tell you. There's more of them than you think. There are way more of them than you think, man. It's scary.
No, I actually know that that's not the case. That's one thing I'm grateful for. There's a couple of people who are big loudmouths, and they know how to make themselves look like 100 people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I know. But when I talk to the majority of people, there's the 99.9% of the Jewish people, the religious Jewish people, actually support my brother. Okay, you have a journalist who writes for Yeshiva Shmurled. Okay, you have a couple of morons like who you're talking to. Okay, these plants. Okay, these snakes in the grass, but the 99.9% of religious Jewish people, and actually, thank God, non-Jewish people too. I believe the majority actually are aware of the effectiveness of my brother's protocol. They know that they don't have to buy Z-Stack. You can go get all the ingredients separately elsewhere. Okay. For the prophylaxis. Okay. That's what I literally tell everybody. Did I ever tell you about this situation I had with this old lady?
No.
She needed to be on the prophylaxis protocol, because she was very, very high risk. And I was telling her about the ingredients, the over-the-counter, the quercetin and the zinc and the vitamin D, vitamin C. And I was like, you should go buy all those things separately. And she's like, well, I was going to order a Z-Stack. And she's a little bit senile. I can tell by when she was talking. So I said, well, you could do that too. I mean, I wasn't going to tell you about it. I didn't want you to think I was trying to, she's like, no, I'm going to buy it because you could take 2 capsules instead of 6 or whatever. I don't know. I was like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, I follow up with her a week later just to see if she's taken the prophylaxis, right? Because I know she's not fully, she doesn't have all her marbles.
Yeah.
So with people like that, you don't know if they have anybody who's checking in on them. So I was just like, I remember, it just popped into my head.
Yeah.
So I called her, and then I was like, hi, I just wanted to know if you were taking the, how's your first week on the prophylaxis? Are you having any nausea issues with the zinc, maybe, that kind of thing. It's a common thing. And she's like, I'm not taking it. I'm like, well, why not? She goes, you're a crook. You were trying to sell me Z-Stack. And then she hung up the phone.
That is hilarious, man.
It's not funny at all.
I mean, it's just.
It's not funny because now I have
sounds like
no
a-
idea.
yeah.
And I tried to call her back and she wouldn't pick up. So I have no idea what happened to her.
Dude, you should know these people are all. Some of them are products of YU, recent products. Yeah, you see, Judaics teacher, whatever. This is the problem. This is the problem. See, now they're calling your brother a muppet. They're like children. These people are not fit to be. I don't even know who gave them smicha. Who allowed them to be
They're poop throwing monkeys
anything.
is what they are. And I feel almost bad
Gosh.
because I don't want to like offend the poop throwing monkeys by associating them with these people. I mean, poop throwing monkeys never murdered entire swaths of the population or tried to assist in that process. Right? So my apologies to poop throwing monkeys.
Do you know what the word that comes to mind with these people? Smarmy. Like smarmy. That's what comes to mind.
Yeah, smarmy. That is the leftist calling card. Just like they just smarmy from the get-go, no reason, just smarmy in general, just shit in the heart. Let's put it that way. They have shit in their heart.
Yeah.
And they want to make everybody else have it too.
Yeah.
Watch the world burn type people.
Yeah, I know.
But
They're thinking
fans of the Joker, that kind of
they
people.
they think that they're saving people. This is the scary part.
I don't agree with you.
They're very misguided. No. Some of them actually think
I
that
don't think so.
they're doing good. They think
No,
that
I can't believe you could say that for the first from like March to maybe like August of 2020.
Yeah.
After that, no, dude, you're making a mistake. You're being too generous.
No, I mean in general, not this situation. I mean in general when they talk about anything.
I don't give a damn about any other situation, to be honest with you, because this is the only situation. This is a worldwide. Let's just say what it is. This is a.
By the way, your mother's listening to this. It's funny. She liked clicked like on the Facebook.
Oh my God, my mom's listening to this.
Could be. Oh, she was. Maybe I don't know. She still is.
Wow, that.
That is your mother, right? Yeah, that's her.
Yeah. Don't say her name, but yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
I don't know why that stunned me for a second.
That's very funny.
I was like, my mommy's listening to me. Oh no.
But I gotta tell you, you guys both look like your dad. It's very funny. Resemble. And your dad looked like he could bust some ass. I can tell you that much.
He's a rough dude.
He looked like when he was driving all those celebs back in the day. And some of them got in his taxi like, inebriated, whatever it is. And like he was like, yo, homie don't play that. I
Yeah.
feel like that was him just by looking at him.
Yeah, like my dad, like, I'm not gonna get into details, but he actually showed me, like, I don't think I could have known this if I hadn't seen it. Like, he showed me that you could whoop some guys' asses that you don't think you could whoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him do it, I don't think I'd be able to do to stand, to be able to like actually, fight like realistically certain people that they have like a certain, you know what I mean? Like
It's like what was it? Eddie Murphy? Who did he say this about? He's like, you don't look like
Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, Charlie Murphy. No, he said.
He's like, no, that's exactly what Charlie Murphy said.
No, he's like, you didn't look like you can't beat somebody up. You look like you.
Oh, he was talking about Mr. T.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy. Somebody's like, he's like, you don't look like you can't beat somebody. You look like you beat some ass.
Yeah, no, but Charlie Murphy said that he goes, I learned quick that there's dudes that I did up, that I whooped, that I didn't think I could do it just because I was scared of my mom.
Yeah.
Right? He goes, because I had to stand up for Eddie, right? And my mom was one of those people who's like, she's like, hanging out the window with a belt saying, either you're gonna whoop his ass, or I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Really funny.
So he's like,
It's like the mafia.
the only thing acceptable was victory.
It's like the mafia. Do you either shoot him or we'll shoot you, kind of deal.
Right, like there's no option. Defeat is not an option. Yeah, my uncle was like that too. Like I was surprised because my uncle, my dad is like, kind of like a medium height dude. He's like 5'10" or something like that. Like, but my uncle is like maybe 5'8", 5'7", short dude. And I wouldn't imagine that he could fight. And my father told me, he goes, no, you don't know. You don't know.
That's your father's brother.
Yeah, this is my father's older brother. He was like, he's 3 years older, but he was, he's like one of those, like, I'm not going to call him a chicken hawk, but he's a chicken hawk. You know what I mean? Like, he's like one of those like short, stocky dudes that just kind of, you'd rather not, you don't want to square up with him.
That's funny. No, I think when I think of chicken hawk, no, usually chicken hawks is the term that they made about the armchair.
Oh no!
Soldiers.
That's what it means. Then that's not what I was meant.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're trying to.
No, because in Looney Tunes, you got
Yeah.
Foghorn,
He's like
right?
a tough little bird. Yeah.
Yeah, but he actually is a tough little bird. Like he beats him up and stuff like that.
No, because the term they use about neocons was chicken hawk, the guys who,
Yeah, I guess you're right. Oh, I used the wrong term.
the guys who sent the war to Iraq.
Didn't hear that because I prefer not to have this.
You prefer not to have this altercation in person.
I prefer not to have this conversation. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Anyway, man. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna need like an hour just to unwind.
Episode 35 up.
Why? No, we didn't screw it up. This is high drama. This is like TV, must see TV.
Must see TV. This is not my vision of.
What should we title this? The freaks come out?
We should entitle this, we apologize for this anomaly.
Or just anomaly?
No, we apologize. How about this? We apologize for this anomaly, and next time will be better.
I'm just gonna title it the Erev Rav. That's it.
No, how about this? Do not engage.
Do not feed the trolls.
Right. Don't feed the trolls. And that's exactly what we did in this episode. We fed the trolls.
Yeah.
So folks, I guess if you're gonna learn anything from us is in this episode, don't do it. Don't take our.
Don't do what we did. Don't do what I did. Freaking pidarazi. What a universal word in Russian, Doesn't even mean what people think it. It does not mean what you think it means.
I do not think that word means what you think it means. Right?
Yeah.
You keep saying indubitably. No, what was it? It was inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
Wallace Shawn. Inconceivable. Yeah. You ever see My Dinner with Andre?
Maybe parts of it.
Watch that whole movie, bro.
Okay. Now I want to see that, and then I want to see the other one with Bruce Willis. What is it? Blind Date. I want to see that.
Blind Date My Dinner with Andre and Young Frankenstein. That's your
That's
watch.
what to do. Yeah, I keep hearing about this Don't Look Up on Netflix, but I keep hearing that it's like mostly they're trying to make fun of like Orange Man for not listening to scientists or whatever. Even though I think it's if you slice it down, it's basically people who are about the scientists that are being silenced today. We're trying to warn everybody, but whatever. I'm starting to like care less and less. You know what I
Don't
mean?
let that happen. See, that's the problem with engaging with them. It's
Yeah.
better not to engage, and then you can care more.
No, what I mean is like care. I'm starting to care, not even care about it. I'm starting to like say to myself, Has v'shalom, if these people have something in them that's like a ticking time bomb, then there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do except for like, meaning the only way I can do anything, or you can do anything more so even, is if the entire world acknowledges that there's a problem, and then there's going to be a global rush to like do detox for everybody. Otherwise, there's just like, unless somebody comes out and says like, I have a problem, help me. So far, I have not been approached by one person. I've known one person who admitted to me that there's a problem, who took it. One person. After taking two, and then took the third because of work. Whatever, I don't know. And that's it. And everybody else, not one person has come to me personally, even though I've seen like many anecdotal, people post here and there. I have this problem, I had that problem, whatever. But me personally, nobody has ever come.
Can I tell you something?
So,
All that having been said, I'm watching a video of a rooster who is giving a puppy a ride on its back. And then the puppy licks its face. That exists too.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
That's like the cutest thing I've ever seen. Oh.
Listen, I hang out with my cat. He's dope.
Dude, I love my cat. I wish I had a dog.
Yeah.
Oh my God, getting over. Unbelievable.
My friend just wrote to me. Oh, because I said that she wrote to me. Reality is now being dictated on the internet. One day we will have to not be so reliant on these things. I said that day when Facebook system went down, I was so happy. Remember that day? It was a couple months ago, 3 months ago, when at Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram went down for like a couple hours. I said I was so happy, and they responded, "Me too. We need more time away than I think we really know. I got a headache a few hours ago from looking at screens all day. But for you, let go of negative emotion, let it wash over you, then release." I'll tell you, this reminds me of just like those times I used to like, this is years ago when I used to just like talk to those people in the club scene. And it's just like there was nothing but like gaslighting and ad hominem attacks. And this kind of stuff, like there was never an acknowledgement of like MS. There was just always like everything is association and optics. It's always been like that with them. Like always. Even before, these last like 5 or 10 years. What is that? What is that from?
Wasted so much energy talking about these guys. I promise
No,
I wouldn't do it.
But no, but I'm saying I'm trying to get the bottom of like what it seems to be a global issue. It's not just these guys. It's in the media.
There's
Is it this Watiko thing? Is it the Watiko thing that
It's look. There's so many ways of putting it. There's
Sitracha?
it's the Sitra Achra, the internal Amalek. When it says that we have to eradicate Amalek from history, from memory. At this point, you don't have a group of people that you can go and say, oh, these are Amalekites. It's everybody's mixed in. It's mixed in.
It's a behavior.
Everybody has a little Amalek inside of them that they have to like. That's the Joker. That little Joker inside. Just likes to, for no reason.
I just do things. This week's parsha, that's at the end where Amalek attacks. in the Refidim. What is it called?
But Amalek attacks, and the only ones who have that are vulnerable are the ones who worship idols, who still they were still carrying their idols from Egypt.
And also kids and
No.
Oh,
It was like I looked into this. It was specifically
really.
It was specifically the spiritually weak, not the physically weak.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, man. So
Whatever. Don't
okay,
feed
so
the
next
troll.
time. So
That's what we
listen.
do.
So what are we gonna gain from?
Next episode is 36, so we have to talk about the hidden tzaddikim.
We have to talk about the hidden.
And if we want, we can talk about their counterparts.
Well, let's talk about the hidden tzaddikim and
Let's
just
just talk
kind of
about
like,
Let's bring
we gotta
light.
we gotta make up for this episode by
I know.
extra
I know.
positivity. We gotta swing it to the other side.
Yeah. But dude, just so you know, this episode got a lot of views, at least on Facebook. I don't know what it's gonna do on YouTube. We'll see.
We apologize.
You shouldn't misunderestimate. You shouldn't underestimate this episode. No, what is it? No such thing as bad publicity, right?
Well,
So to speak.
just wanna, for everybody listening, listen to our other stuff too. You'll see that this is kind of an anomaly, and we promise to do better. Don't leave us. Don't leave us.
I don't think they will. I think if anything, it would just mehazik them to see how awful the Keneged people are. You know what I'm saying? I'm just reading the comments of our friends. I mean, this is they know
Those
who's where.
darn Fargan ice holes.
What? Exactly. My friend's writing, my dinner with Andre was interesting and compelling. Don't Look Up was dumb. It's like more mousy lies. Hidden Tzaddikim. I heard of the murdered Ravs in Harnof. Was one of them was in it. Yeah, I heard that too. The ones in 2014.
Oh, please! I have a limit to what I can physically think about and
Yeah.
see. And that's one of those things I just can't.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what's in rule. Like
Yeah.
if like I have like probably another 30 seconds of ability to think about that before going schizoid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
This guy I was learning with, he was a Talmud of one of those rabbis, and yeah, and he gave a nice hesped at where we were learning in Brooklyn when this happened. Whatever. What is it? May Hashem avenge their blood, so to speak. And,
better not say anything.
the knickknacks. That's all. That's what it's all about.
And by that we mean just whatever it is,
Yeah.
The knickknacks, tic tacs, the patty wags, the
Whatever.
purple dragons, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, whatever it is, just please, whatever it is, just let it be already.
Can I tell you something?
Teva sucks.
I have a newfound rachamim on the Haredi rabbis who were just simply duped into this, and who are not even necessarily running around saying anything about your brother. And if anything, they probably know that your brother's helping people. I know that only because I know somebody who did your brother's protocol and got better from it, went to Schmack's afterwards only because of work. He's a teacher in a school in Brooklyn. Very nice guy. And I think a lot of people just got duped or coerced like this guy. But these people tonight are something else entirely. These are gremlins. Like from the movie.
Yeah.
He's a little freaky.
Don't throw any water on them.
What exactly? Wait, what happens if you throw water, they grow, right? Something like that?
New ones pop out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Don't throw any Torah on them. Or anything good. Any emes. Any water.
Actually, Torah might help. That's the only thing.
Well, yeah.
They would only listen.
Who the hell knows? But anyway.
Yeah.
Moving along, sir. Use Gremlins as the title.
Who said that?
Alex. He said use Gremlins.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about which Alex are we talking about here?
Our regular Alex, Alexander Ely.
Oh, Alex. Oh, my bad. Yo, I'm sorry. I thought you were.
Not,
I thought you were
not you,
talking about
boy.
Alex. I thought you were about like Stuyvesant or
No, not
Kravitz.
God, Stiles. Good guy, by the way. But no,
Stuyvesant. No, he's good.
good people.
He's good people.
Also an interesting character, to say the least.
Had it pretty rough, you know.
I know. I went to whatever, there was shivas that I went to by his whatever situation.
Unbelievable.
I found myself here in America, and I was just so happened to. That's kind of when he and I reconnected a little bit at these things, because we knew each other through friends, people at Stuyvesant.
Yeah.
Through our friends that we know. The kids, sir.
Dude, did Gennady get the schmacks?
I have absolutely not the faintest idea. I haven't spoken to him in a very long time. Not a clue. Not a clue.
I worry about him, even though he drives me nuts. But I worry about him.
He probably did. Only if he did it, it was probably because of work and just what's called mainstream conditioning, I guess. Narrative conditioning, just like most people, you know, good people, ultimately. But probably wouldn't have gotten it if not for work. Whatever, you know. Most people think it's okay. Most people, like somebody told them, "Oh, this is revolutionary tech." You know, it doesn't need, like this one doctor on Twitter said, this doesn't need 5 to 10 years of vetting anymore. Read extra, read all about it. He posted a link for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm convinced. That settles that. He's now. You still there?
Yeah, man, I'm listening to you. I've just tried to.
I have no. I was like,
No, I'm not gonna pull a Greg.
all I have to say is Gremlins. We'll just call it Gremlins.
Listen, I want to speak to just the Christian Americans right now.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you are of Hebrew origin, just don't realize it yet. That's why you're here in America. We can all talk about this. This is one of my personal feelings and speculations. I feel it. So just saying.
Yeah.
Should leave it there.
What about Gremlins, the new batch? Remember Gremlins 2, the new batch?
How about Gremlins, the boosters?
Oh
No, that's not gonna make sense.
No, it's gonna be automatically, what's it called?
Schmoosters.
Whatever. It'll be okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
Gremlins. That's actually, you know,
Just
I know
Gremlins.
where the actual term came from, right? It's
Yeah.
It's, you know, little sabotages that, you know, in the Air Force during World War II.
That makes sense. By the wings, it causes things to crash, and they think, you know, whatever. In this case, they think they're doing good, but they're going to cause it to crash, the whole thing.
In some cases, it was some of the guys working on the plane, saboteurs, you know, agents from the other side. That's what these guys are.
All right, sir.
All right, Gremlins it is.
It's been very, very, very real.
Hey, I'm almost positive there is a snapshot in the film Gremlins 2
Mm-hmm.
where one of the Gremlins is dressed up like a doctor.
Yes. Hold on. Yes, with the mask. He's wearing a mask.
That's our thumbnail, buddy.
And he's like attacking. Is this Ralph Macchio with a mask?
Ralph Macchio.
It looks like the guy looks like Ralph Macchio, but it's not Ralph Macchio. What the
movie?
hell? Yeah, it's like hold on. Oh, it's Joe. he's like the guy, the designer of the yeah. He's like a costume guy, whatever. This is so funny. We're gonna use this. The main gremlin, the Dr. Gremlin, whatever. It's so hilarious. He's wearing sunglasses. He says Dr. Gremlin's got screwed up eyes. Oh, vey. What a wonderful world. All right. It's been real.
Sir.
And
Hey,
next
folks at home,
time,
we'll do better next time. We'll be
next time
more
we'll bring some light. No, we didn't do bad. It's just this, whatever. We're gonna bring light with the 36 Tzaddikim next time.
Hopefully, next episode is in Yerushalayim.
Amen.
All right, brother.
All right. I'll talk to you. Peace.